Is Janet from another planet? 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 Is Janet from another planet?
The opinions you're about to hear on this show are strictly those of the panel.
Today's digital landscape with the spread of false information can lead to dangerous outcomes. It's crucial for everyone to think critically and verify sources and reflect on the impact of what they share. Let's promote responsible communication to ensure that truth prevails and actions remain rooted in reality. Today,
the following program is rated TV MA LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
I'm sorry, I'm the only one that's going to be on tonight, but that's okay. It's a shit show every day, right? Well, I wanted to start off with this gentleman because of the storm that a lot of the country is going to get over this weekend. And I saw this a couple days ago, and he was talking about the storm. So I thought I'd give him a little play and let you guys hear what he has to say about the whole situation. Here we go. Sure it's turned up.
I've been waiting to talk about the storm that's coming this weekend because I didn't want to freak people out. And a lot of these forecasts never pan out, but this one is panning out, it looks like. Yeah, everyone's in agreement now that the crazy forecast is actually happening. This is going to be one of those storms you probably remember for much of your life. Basically, more than the eastern half of the United States is going to be below freezing. Most of that below zero. They're calling for, foot and a half of snow all through here, all the way to the mid-Atlantic, and 3 inches of ice in this pink band right here. 3 inches of ice is unbelievably catastrophic. That is worse than what Texas experienced in 2021. There's going to be loss of life. Anywhere there's 3 inches of ice, there's no power. There's not going to be a power line that's not on the ground when there's 3 inches of ice. And emergency services aren't going to be able to reach you because there's 3 inches of ice on the road. That's what's going to happen if this forecast is correct. The grid's going to fail. Refineries are going to shut down. Water systems are going to shut down. Could knock out a couple of LNG terminals if it goes far enough south on the Gulf Coast. This is going to be a disaster if this forecast is even close to accurate. I mean, a major disaster. Huge natural disaster across pretty much all the southern states. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if you live in the pink area, you should plan to be without power for at least a week, maybe a month. That doesn't mean it's going to happen, but you need to prepare for it because it wouldn't be the first time it happened, okay? This is that. People went without power for a month in Texas in 2021. This is a repeat of that.
Mm-hmm.
For you folks in the upper Midwest, where it's going to be like 30 below, take the largest electric bill you've ever had in your life and add, I don't know, 25% to that or more. Yeah. But more importantly, just be prepared.
Well, I believe we are getting a storm, but I don't think it's going to be that horrible because I think most people can go without electricity for a week if they have to. Most people are prepared for that. And most big companies, like Walmart, other places where you would have to go shopping, and lots of factories have generators, for emergencies and things like that. Now, the power line issue, yeah, I can understand that. If you have a lot of ice on your power lines, it weighs them down. It can pull them loose. It can cause trees to fall over on power lines, things like that. The best thing for you to do is to stay off the road and don't go out on the road because you're going to have emergency vehicles trying to get around, to real emergencies, like people that are injured at home or fixing power lines, other things like that, or power lines falling on a home, things like that. So the best thing for us to do is to try to take care of each other at your homes. Check on your loved ones, elderly people that you might know of. Contact other people from your church and see if there's other things you can do if someone might need help. The best thing to do is to call your pastors at your churches and stuff, because usually if there's an emergency, somebody from a family or a neighbor will contact their church and let them know, hey, we need water or things like that. So the best thing you do is be a good neighbor when it's bad weather like this. That was just one thing I wanted to bring up, because I think it's important that we do help one another if we can, to the best of our ability. That's not always, easy for all of us because we have our own lives. But I just wanted to play that for you. But another thing that I found I thought was really funny, and I always like to try to start the show off with something funnier, because I have relatives that hoard, that collect lots of things, and I collect things. I collect comic books and memorabilia and things like that. But my dad used to collect all kinds of weird things, me growing up. But another thing that I do have is I have food, supplies of food, like 20-year supply of, dried food, things like that you can get from survival groups. Because when you live in a hurricane area or tornado area like I am now, most people, save stuff like that. You have big bottles of water, you have candles, you have flashlights, light bulbs, you have staples. And so when I saw this really cute, I just thought it was a really good video, and I want to share it with you guys, about a woman who bought a home that was owned by a hoarder. So and she's emptying out one of the cabinets, and she's shocked by the stuff that she's finding in there. So I want to share it with you because I thought it was kind of nice. And hold on, I got to make sure I open the right one. I'm so bad at this. you'd think it would get easier, but it doesn't. It's none of my numbers ever end up being even. They just move around or something. I don't know what I do wrong, but I'm doing something wrong. But I don't have an assistant. I have to do it all by myself. And I'm going to try to read the chat and the same thing. I'm doing the best I can. It says, while cleaning out the home, she opens a hidden closet with cereal boxes that dated from 1996. Wheaties, Cheerios, Rice Krispies, Frosted Flakes, Kellogg's Corn Flakes, all sealed and untouched. She reviews the ingredient labels on camera and then opens the boxes. The bag cereal looks perfectly intact. 30 years later, still crunchy, no mold, no decay. Should food still be edible after 30 years? I just thought this was interesting. So I'm going to play this for you because I just think it's interesting. So here we go.
I just opened up the other side of the Doom closet. Cereal from 1996, expiration date. Still crunchy.
So look at the boxes. They don't look like that now.
These guys. Sony here. This is the Rice Krispies. That looks pretty clean. Wheaties. Still has a corn syrup and stuff. No color. Cornflakes. Only like 6 ingredients. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's pretty cool. And this is the Cheerios. Still crap in there. Almonds.
But what was interesting is, did you hear what she said? She said only 6 ingredients. That's interesting. The fact that they put all this extra stuff in our stuff today, saying they have to preserve it, to keep it to last longer, and the new containers that they put stuff in, so it gets cheaper and cheaper and cheaper as the price doesn't go down or it goes up, right? So the fact that this is still good after this long and has that few of ingredients tells me that them putting all this stuff in it had nothing to do with preserving it. You see what I mean? I think it's interesting. I just thought it was interesting because the fact that, she found them because she bought this house, but they still looked like they just bought them. The boxes look good. I guess the person took really good care of making sure they stayed in a clean, cool area, that wasn't, drafty and things like that, because that's important on saving food. But I just thought that was an interesting whole thing about the food and her finding it. So I thought I'd share it with you guys. I thought that was funny because how often does that happen? Most people don't find anything like that in a house that they buy, especially, food that's edible. I just thought it was really cool. But this other thing I found, I made it a little longer of a video to share with you because I see a lot of people still go to Walmart and buy food, but they buy it online and then they go to Walmart and they back up to this place and they fill up their car with groceries. They don't go in the store anymore. So you're basically buying whatever it is that you put online and you ask them to pack for you, right? Well, then I saw this and I was thinking, how many people are actually getting ripped off, paying for something by the pound that's charged by the pound and not knowing if you're even getting what they say they're going to give you. You know what I mean? So I'm going to play this video and you'll see what I'm talking about. So let me open this real quick because this was a video that I had made. So it's available to the side. So here we go.
Through it a little bit, pick anything out. Let's go weigh this one on the scale. They're saying this ham here, what is it? Kentucky Legend ham? They're saying this ham right here, this little bitty ham, is 5.34 pounds. Let's take it to the scale. It's a good thing they put these scales in here so we can keep Walmart in check. Let's check this out. 2.25. They were trying to get somebody for $25. $25.59 for this. How many in here are off? How many in there are off? Start digging through here, see how many in here are off. If I was unknowing, I was in a hurry, I just grabbed that ham and threw it in, it would rang up $25. I literally spent about 2 minutes in here. I started going up and down through things, looking at stuff. I found this in 2 minutes. Check your meat, folks. Walmart.
Yeah, think about it. $25 for that little ham, and they were telling the people who bought it by the sticker that it weighed over 5 pounds, and it only weighed barely 2.5 pounds. So they're paying double for something they're not getting. So I don't know how you would fix that, especially if I wouldn't buy meat that way. I wouldn't buy bacon. I wouldn't buy pork, chicken, anything. If you're getting your food loaded in your car when you show up after you've already paid for it online. So I wouldn't do that. I just was thinking about that when I saw that video, and I was like, a lot of people are getting ripped off. So, because he does that multiple times. He's on TikTok, and I've seen a lot of his videos, and he does that. He'll go in there and get, different meat, just random meat, and find out that, guess what? He's getting ripped off. So, yeah. Or he didn't get ripped off because he didn't buy it, but he was trying to show people that they have scales in there to weigh fruit and other things on there. So weigh your meat before you go to the thing and say, hey, this meat's only this many pounds, and it's saying it's $5 and something, but it's this much per pound. So that's all I want to pay for it. That kind of thing. So, but also they have in the chicken and stuff, they have pork chops. So you'll see this little padded thing underneath. It's like absorbs moisture. But the thing is, they inject salt water and different things like that into the meat to make it weigh more, supposed to make it last longer or whatever. But you're paying for the water. So if the meat's been sitting there for a day and it's drained out of the meat, then you're still paying for it because it's in that paper you absorbed. So it probably didn't even weigh as much as 2.5 pounds, like he said, because a lot of that was probably in that paper underneath. But that was just something I thought was interesting, and to keep you from getting ripped off, especially since, people are having a hard time making sure that they have meals and stuff for their families. So I just thought the whole thing was pretty bullshit. So I wanted to share that with you. Okay, let me see. Oh, and here's one more. I think it's this one. Yeah, one more. Tommy, he wasn't able to join me tonight, but this was a video that he sent to me, and I told him that I would share it with you guys. So I'm going to put it up here. It's by Benny Johnson, and he is in California, and he was he did a video on showing that there were 26 registered voters at this toilet. Address of this toilet in California. So let me play this for you real quick. Here you go.
Yo, what's up, guys? We're outside of a very important place here in California. You'll see it's just home to a porta-john and a giant empty parking lot. But inside of this empty parking lot is something really important in the state of California. As you can see here, we have registered voters. 26 registered voters for this exact location, 100 Sunset Avenue in Venice. 26 registered voters. Right here.
Ridiculous.
According to the registrar and the Secretary of State. 26 people registered to a porta-john and an empty parking lot. Where do their ballots go exactly? So who's picking up the ballots? Who's voting for the people in this lovely porta-john empty lot? That's the question. I think you know the answer. Yo, what's up, guys? We're out.
That is what's sad. And then didn't somebody, what was it? I think it was Gavin Newsom just signed a new order or whatever to say that they can't ask for ID. They can't look into the backgrounds of any of these people. They can't do a bunch of, they're basically tying your hands so that they can never have fair elections, because there's going to always be cheating, which means you're never going to be able to vote your way out of the problem, because that's all they do is cheat their way in and stay in there and keep raising your taxes and stealing your money. Basically, it's what they're doing. So there's no way to stop the crimes, because they're just going to keep doing it, because they fix the laws to where you can't do anything about it. You're basically stuck in a prison with a bunch of prisoners, and you're going to work and handing them your money. That's basically what you're doing. You're lucky if you can, buy new shoes every year, things like that, because they have all the say. And I think it's disgusting. And I'm so thankful I don't live in California. And I feel sorry for all the people, because I have friends that do live in California and they can't afford to leave. They've been there for 30 years, and they own their home, or they're almost finished paying for their home. They know that they try to sell it, they won't get enough money to actually go anywhere else to put the money in the bank and be able to start all over again in another place. A lot of people don't realize how hard it is to start over again. When you've been put 30 years into something, and then you have to start over from scratch, find a place to live, get a job, start paying your bills, and try to save money so that you have something to retire with, because you got shafted in another state or whatever. So it's sad. It's sad that people are in that position, and that these people get away with this shit. I'm just sick of them. I'm sick of these people. And these states that have governors like this. I mean, there's a video I'm going to play. Let me see if I can find it real quick. This brand new woman that just got elected, and she's already raised. Now, here it is. I'm going to find this one. I'm going to play it. It's number 10. So hold on. Let me pull that one up. I wasn't going to play it till later, but I want to play it right now. So hold on. Give me a second. Let's see. I think it's this one. Oh, God. I suck at this so bad. Number 10. I think it's this one. Yeah, here it is. Okay. I think it's up there. I'll make sure I got to push pause because volume's not on. Darn it. Okay. This is it right here. I'm going to turn it up. I'll listen to this.
That's the new governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia. Abigail Spanberger ran for that office as a moderate. But the executive order that she talked about is state and local police not cooperating with ICE to get criminal illegal immigrants. There's also a list of, now the Democrats control the legislature, that a number of bills that have been put forward. You can't read it here, but let me just go through it. Sales tax on Uber Eats, Amazon, sales tax on admissions to a variety of businesses, create 2 new higher tax brackets, 10% tax bracket for anyone making over $1 million, 3.8 investment tax, raise the hotel tax, new personal property tax on landscaping equipment, ban gas-powered leaf blowers, guarantee illegal aliens free education, make it illegal to approach somebody at an abortion clinic, extend the time absentee ballots can be received after Election Day, allow people to cast their votes electronically through the internet, expand ranked choice voting, extend the deadline for ballot curing, redact the addresses of political candidates from FOIAs, add Virginia to the National Popular Vote Compact, make it illegal to hand count ballots, $500 sales tax on firearm suppressors, assault weapons and large capacity magazine ban, 11% sales tax on all firearms and ammunition, prohibit outdoor shooting of a firearm less than 5 acres, lower the criminal penalties for robbery, ban the arrest of illegal.
Did you see that right there? For prohibit, that means you have to stop outdoor shooting of a firearm. So if you don't live out in the middle of the boonies to practice your shooting, you are not allowed to shoot anymore, even if you have a target or anything, if you don't have 5 acres of land. Wow. And the fact that no hand counting ballots, that's almost all we have in the state that I'm in right now. That's ridiculous. See, they're pushing you to have to use a machine so that they can rig the election. So this state is now a blue state. This is a blue state. They may say they're not blue, that they might be lightly purple, but when you vote in a governor that's passing all this stuff, to take away from you and give it to somebody who doesn't work. Free education for illegal aliens. Jesus. They don't care if you feed your family. They don't care if you have medical. They don't care if you're a veteran. They don't care. They don't care anything about you. They want to take your money from you in Virginia and give it to people who haven't put in a dime. And guess what? They live in your free house, free medical, free school, free everything. And guess what? If they do get work, guess where their money goes? They mail it back to their families. So your community doesn't even make money off of the taxes of them buying things, because they're sending the money back there because everything's free for them. And people keep saying, oh, they're not doing that. That's not true, blah, blah, blah. But it is true. This right here is proof. All you got to do is ask people in Virginia why they voted for this woman. Why are people voting for people that they know want to take your money? They want to take your hard-earned money. Let's say you're living on Social Security now, okay? Or you're retired, okay? You've already worked your ass off to earn that money. Now they're going to give your money to these illegals for free because you're just a piece of shit, basically, is what they're saying. That's what they're saying. You're nothing. You're old now, so you don't have a job. You're just sucking us dry, and we're going to take whatever money you have, and we're going to give it to them. And guess what? If you and your wife both worked, okay, for 20, 30 years, now you're retired, and one of you dies, okay, does your wife or your husband get your Social Security that you earned in your house? No. You only get yours. That's it. Guess whose money goes to those illegals? This person that passed away that worked for 30, 50 years. Now their money is also going into the pot for all the free shit to other people that didn't put a dime in. And for some reason, Democrats think that's okay. Why? If they want to give away all their things, they can go down the wherever and pick up some people, bring them back to your house and feed them and take care of them. Help them become citizens. But you pay for it. Why are you forcing all your next door neighbors and stuff to do it also? See, that's what I don't understand. If I want to donate to my church, guess what? I donate to my church. If I want to go to the animal shelter and donate money or go clean cages and do stuff like that, I do that. I have every right to do that. As an American, I can go and come as I want. But now these people are being told they can't shoot their guns, they can't buy guns, they got to pay more taxes for this, that, and the other. They have to give their money so that these people can go to school for free and give them more free stuff. I just think it's disgusting. Replace Columbus Day with Indigenous Peoples Day. All localities have to install speed cameras. See, and you guys in Virginia are happy with this, I bet. You voted for her. You guys voted this. You guys voted for this. And guess what? When your state starts to fail, because all the people that don't want to pay all these taxes leave, so that's less money your state's going to be making. Then you're going to come to the other states around you and say, we need a bailout. We're too big to fail. And then the rest of us have to help pay for that failed state. State after state after state is just bullshit crap like this is hurting the states that actually have balanced budget amendments like my state does. Okay. It's disgusting. It's like saying, well, I can spend every dime and every check that I get. I can buy Uber Eats. I can spend it on whatever shit I want and spend it all in 1 week. So now I got 3 more weeks to pay my bills and to keep working and hopefully get another couple checks. But guess what? I'm broke. So I'm going to go to my neighbors and have them give me their half of their checks so that I can keep buying Uber Eats and doing whatever I want because I don't make enough money. You see, that's not fair. That's not fair at all. It's not fair to the people that actually work and live within their budget. This is pathetic. It just makes me so angry that people think that this is okay and voted for it. You voted for this person. I mean, There's no such thing as a Democrat that cares about a taxpayer. They care about themselves getting elected and making more money. Every Democrat gets richer while they're in office. Every single one of them. And lots of rhinos too. We have like 76 rhinos in there right now. Let's see, I'm going to pull that up. This is another thing that I found. Yeah, here it is. I think it's the very last thing. Yeah, let me pull this up. Let me close this. Sorry. One of these days I'll learn, maybe, if I keep doing this. We'll see. All right, here we go. It's called GP. Okay, here it is. Yeah, check this out. House blocks amendment that would have cut off funding for DEI, child mutilation, and more awful items in spending package. These 76 GOPers joined the Democrats. So you had 76 Republicans supposedly vote with the Democrats to keep this shit. All the fighting that we see Trump doing to try to get rid of all this NGOs, all this wasteful spending, trillions of dollars so far, millions and millions and millions just from Minnesota, one state. Just think about California, New York, start adding Virginia, all these states start adding up all of the fraud that we're paying for. We're probably not even really even debt. We wouldn't be trillions of dollars in debt at all as a country if they actually spent the money that they're taking from your check where it was supposed to go, instead of in their own back pockets and to their friends and whatever else, bullshit that they're spending it on. And I'm sure these 76 people, rhinos, because they're not Republicans, they're not conservatives. Conservatives don't vote for this kind of shit. They vote against this stuff to get rid of it. I know, I'm a conservative, and I put my money in the piggy bank and try to save it as much as I can, and spend it when I have to, to fix things. Like I just had to replace all my water lines because I had a leak, and I've got 3 football field lengths of yard to my house from the road. So I had to pay to have new lines put in to find out where the leak was, because I couldn't afford the monthly bill of $300 something a month because I had a leak. So that shit happens and you have to pay for it. I didn't go begging my neighbors, oh, give me some money to pay for my water lines, because it's not other people's responsibility to make sure that I have water. I have to go out there and freaking work, make money to pay the bills. That's what most of us do, because that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to be responsible and try to raise our kids to do the same thing and not be ticks sucking off the system, especially if you didn't put anything in. If you're a veteran and you worked hard and you went out and sacrificed your limbs and your mind and your heart for your country, you deserve to be taken care of. And if they take money out of my check to help pay for veterans to go to the hospital and stuff, I don't care. That's what they're supposed to do with it. I'm a military brat. I understand what that's like, the lifestyle that military goes through. Police officers, our first responders, firemen, all these people, that's what this money is supposed to go for. Our roads, our infrastructure in your state, when you get state taxes and things like that. But for some reason, so many people just feel entitled to be able to get their nails done, get their hair done, have a free place to live because they have 15 kids and I have to pay their bills for them. I just think it's ridiculous. I can't believe people keep voting for people and putting them in office to give away all your shit. Next thing you know, they're going to be coming to your house and saying, well, your house, you have a 4-bedroom house and you only live there. So we're going to take your house from you, eminent domain, and we're going to give you pennies on the dollar for it and make you move to that trailer. And we're going to put some families in there that can actually, take up all the rooms in your house. That's what's coming. You guys don't believe it, but that's how socialism is. They take from you and give it to others. That's socialism. And guess what? It doesn't work. Every country that has had it goes belly up. Communism, all that stuff, it just, you run out of money because you sooner or later, when no one works, there's no money. And you have to eat bugs, and that's what they want. They're already trying to get you guys to eat bugs. I just don't understand it. It's just ridiculous. I'll turn that off. Sorry, but trying to do this best I can by myself. So we'll see how it works. But the one other thing I found I thought was interesting for the shit show, since we're in a shit storm, it's hitting people already in Oklahoma and Texas and Missouri, I think. Probably already starting to come in Arkansas, the bottom part of Arkansas. I haven't watched the weather, so I'm not 100% sure. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go to the chat real quick. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm trying to do all this stuff on myself. Let's see. What did I miss in the chat? My family fled California for rural Illinois. Yeah. Yeah, I knew a few people from Illinois, and a couple places they lived was pretty nice. But as you got closer to the cities, it got worse and worse. So I don't know. It's just sad because every single state now, the rural areas are basically conservative, and it's when you go to the cities, it's liberal, and they want to take from everyone and give it to other people, as long as they don't have to look at it. So if you live in the city and you're in a big fancy house and neighborhood, they don't want the trailers or the cheaper rundown apartments by them. They got to be on the other side of town where you have to look at it because they don't want to look at it. And they don't mind paying 20% more for their taxes as long as they don't have to look at your rundown trailer. You see what I mean? Because you're nothing. You're just who cares? And they don't know where chickens come from. They don't know where eggs come from or anything. They don't care as long as they go to the restaurant and expect their steak to be ready for them. They'll pay more money for it because they get the money. See, they have lots of money. When you make $300 million a year, whether you're a singer, an actress, or whatever, you get whatever you have lots of money, and they take half your money. You make $300 million a year, your lifestyle doesn't change. You still have a chauffeur, you still have a fancy house, you still have all those things. But if you make $150,000 a year and they take half your money, it drastically changes the way you live. And that's what they don't look at. They don't look at you the same way they look at themselves. When they look at their maid that cleans their toilet, that's how they look at you. That's what you are. That's what we are, the taxpayers, the ones who really pay taxes and do all the work. They hate us. We're just fleebs. We're meaningless people that do nothing but put carbon in the air and ruin the atmosphere. And once you're too old to work, you're definitely not worth anything. So yeah, it's really bad. Let's see. I don't think there are many rhinos. I do. I just showed you guys that thing that 76 supposed Republicans voted to keep all that shit, to be able to chop up little kids that parents think that kids should be the opposite gender, which means they'll sterile. Okay, girls and boys are sterile. They'll no longer ever be able to have a child, even though they haven't even reached puberty yet. That's mutilation. To be a Muslim and cut off your daughter's clitoris so she can never enjoy sex simply because it'll keep her from cheating. Because men are the only ones that don't cheat. Only women cheat in that religion. Stuff like that. And they didn't want to stop it. Why should you have to pay for that? Why should any taxpayer have to pay to mutilate somebody's kid? Yeah, I don't understand that. I don't want to have any of my money. Do you want your money taken out of your check to pay for abortions? No, I don't. See, I wish, just think about it. If you could figure out a way for you to take money, okay, you have to say we have to take 30% out of every dollar that we get in our paycheck. 30%. Well, what would you want the 30% to go to? If you could pick where your money went. You'd want it to go to your roads. I'd want it to go to my school for my kids. I'd want it to go to the veterans and maybe to the animal shelter. You know, there's 4 things that I would want to see my money go to, but guess what? That's not where it's going to go. Very, very little of that's going to go there. Most of it's going to go to keep the people that are in Congress taken care of, because they're not on your health insurance. They're on the Cadillac insurance, where, you know, and then they can get their nails done and they get their hair done, their makeup and everything all up there while they're still up there in Congress, or in their the state house. Did you know that? We pay for all that shit for its people. So I don't know. I just think it's ridiculous, and I don't think we should have to pay any of that stuff. I don't think we should pay one dime extra. I think they should have to have the same medical insurance you have. If you have Aetna and that's the big one in your state, then that's what they have to have, and no higher than yours. You know, they should get the same dental plan, same everything, because if they had the same plan as you did, don't you think they'd try to keep it good? They'd work on it to make sure you could get what you needed. Yeah, I think a lot of things would change if they had to live the same way we do. You see what I mean? If they had to pay their own way, how many Democrats would actually want to take half their paycheck and let this go? It said they're trying to arrest some rapist. You know, that's illegal. That's here illegal, and he's already raped a few people. How much of that money, if this person had to go over there and take their own money and bail that person out, do you think they'd bail them out? I don't think so. But because someone else is writing the check, they're all like, oh, they can't take that person. That's horrible. Unless, even if it was their own daughter, I guess they wouldn't care as long as they didn't have to pay for it. It's pathetic. I don't understand it, man. We need God. Was what we need in this country. It just seems like we're drowning. But just a minute, let me see. I'm trying to find out where these other pages are. Okay, here was the next thing I wanted to do. Let me open it. This right here. I don't know if anybody's seen this yet. A lot of people haven't, because the news doesn't really do it, and most platforms you're on, you can't see half this stuff. So you're lucky if you even get it on X, because they don't even. I'm seeing more and more censoring on X now too, since you can't, call someone a name. You can't, hurt their feelings because they got a little extra weight or a few gray hairs. Just I don't know. I think it's pathetic. Here we go.
1 year ago, as President Trump assumed office, he pledged to the American people that his administration would confront our nation's greatest challenges head on, and enacting his America First agenda focused on keeping America safe, secure, and free. As Director of National Intelligence, we have been and will continue to be focused on that mandate, ensuring the security of our nation and protecting the constitutional rights and civil liberties every American is guaranteed. And President Trump has already taken historic action immediately to secure our borders in record time and designated several cartels as foreign terrorist organizations, a move that has empowered our National Counterterrorism Center here at ODNI to deploy over 2 decades of counterterrorism expertise towards detecting and deterring cartels and gangs like never before. In just 1 year, this designation by President Trump prevented more than 10,000 individuals with direct ties to narco-terrorism from accessing our country. And we work very closely with our partners at the federal, state, and local level. We've assisted them in the apprehensions of several cartel terrorists, including a Sinaloa cartel boss known as El Pato, who allegedly led a vast network of drug trafficking, extortion, kidnapping, and murder. Another example is a CJNG-affiliated baby trafficker called La Diabla, who preyed on vulnerable pregnant women in Mexico, lured them to remote areas, cut out their babies, harvested their organs, and sold these newborn babies. These are just a few examples of the progress that's been made toward ending the gang and cartel violence that's plagued the American people and put our lives at risk for far too long. As we focus on external threats, we also recognize that there are still insider threats coming from deep state actors who have politicized and weaponized our institutions and our intelligence, against the very citizens that they are charged to serve and protect. Now, thanks to President Trump's leadership and his day one executive orders, we've been focused on transparency and accountability. First, declassifying over 500,000 government documents in a single year. We exposed the Russia collusion hoax, this fabricated so-called intelligence engineered by the Obama administration to orchestrate what was essentially a coup, using lawfare manufactured investigations and impeachments and harassment, subverting the will of the American people in the deep state's attempt to delegitimize the president and the American people who elected him. Now, there's so much more work to be done. The American people deserve the truth, accountability, and justice from our government. The integrity of our democratic republic depends on it. President Trump vowed to eradicate waste, fraud, and abuse throughout the government, respecting your hard-earned taxpayer dollars. At ODNI, we enacted historic change. We streamlined our workforce by 40%, shut down unnecessary facilities and contracts, saving taxpayers more than $700 million per year. We are continuing this work, building a team and an organization that is laser-focused on national security, intelligence integration, and oversight. We've made a lot of progress, but there is a lot more work to be done. So every day, our time, our energy, and our work remains focused on our mission and our mandate: the safety, security, and freedom of the American people.
Yeah, that's really good. I think that that was a good video that she made. And she's trying the best she can to put information out for us to see what's going on. And they're trying to be as transparent as possible, more than I've ever seen from any other president and his administration. Yet I hear nothing but complaints, constant complaints about everything before even half his year was done. People bitching and moaning about it, everything he's doing, or everything his administration's been trying to do. But this is the kind of stuff that I have been rooting for pretty much my whole adult life. As soon as I found out about a person I knew that I went to school with, I was in school still, and I told my mother about it, that she was being abused by her father. And within weeks, he was no longer in the home anymore. Now, I don't know what my mother did, but I told her, and she believed me. You know, she wasn't one of those parents that went, "Oh, why are you making up lies?" You know, and that's terrible. If a child tells you there's something that deep about something going on, and first thing you say is you don't believe them, they're never going to tell you another thing. They're never going to tell you the truth about anything anymore, because now they know that you don't believe them, that you don't trust them. And that's the worst thing you can do to your kid. Even if you don't believe them, don't tell them that. You just say, "Oh my gosh, you know, I love you. I'm going to help you," or whatever. You be there for your kid, and you try to get to the bottom of what's going on. But don't ever tell them, you know, you're a liar, stuff like that. It's terrible. And I've seen that happen in my own family with other relatives in my family, close to my family, other people outside of my family. I've seen this happen to them also when it comes to, and most of the time it's a family member. I hate to say that. It's an uncle, an aunt that's abusing a kid. And it's not always sexual. They will pinch them, pull their hair out, bite them, burn them with cigarettes. I mean, there's a lot of sick people out there. And the only way to stop it is to stop the cycle of it. A person that's been abused tends to end up being abusive themselves. So that's one of the things that I was really into. And when I saw this, and I see more and more of it, because I first started seeing more of it under Trump's first administration. It seemed like as soon as they got rid of him, which they immediately were trying to get rid of him, they were trying to get rid of him before he even got in office, because I think they knew this is a guy that's not on the inside, and we're not going to hide everything from him. But we have enough people inside that will spy on him, and we'll do whatever we can to frame him for something, kill him, whatever they have to get rid of him. And we'll put the vice president in or someone else. And then we'll control that person. And they did that with Biden. You know, he was on a dolly basically, and they pushed him around from one basement to another, one fake set to another, and let him pretend to be president. And someone else was using an auto pin and doing blah, 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 spending all your money, trillions of dollars, and people just seem, oh, well, there's nothing we can do about it. Well, yes, there is. By sharing truth and backing people that are trying to do something, that are actually doing stuff, that's how you make a difference. And it will make a difference. And it's making a small difference. It's just that we got a media that, because of the Smith-Mundt Act that President Obama signed, they don't have to tell you the truth. They can propagandize all they want. And there's nothing we can do about it because of the Smith-Mundt Act. Look it up. I've shared it a million times on this show. But, you know, I'm just a nobody. You know, I'm just a dweeb. I don't even make any money, you know, doing this. I spend money. Money comes out of my pocket. $25 a month just to use StreamYard. And guess what? I let everyone that's on my show, anybody that comes on here, stream it to their channel, because I pay extra so that people can do that, because I try to be as fair as I possibly can. Because if I'm on their channel, I wish they'd let me stream to my channel so I can get more hours or whatever you have to have. But I constantly try my best to share factual stuff. I share links. I tell people, please look it up, try to find out as much as you can, send it to the Friday Night Shit Show chat, you know, all that stuff. I do the best I can. And I try to do stuff that's fun too. I play other games and I stream them. I try to make fun videos. I try to do a lot of different things, but politics is important. I mean, this is our life. When you grow up and you have responsibilities, you can pick and choose who your sheriff is. You know, you can vote for your own pastor in your church. I mean, there's so many different things you have some say in if you give a shit and make an effort, you know. But if you don't, then you can't complain about it. Oh, I don't think they see me, whatever, because you didn't even bother to lift a pinky to do anything. So if you have a terrible animal shelter that as soon as you take a cat or dog and drop them off, you're telling your friends, hey, there's a kitten I dropped off. And then you go back and they say, oh, we smoked them in the deal, cremated it because we couldn't find a home for it after one day, you know, stuff like that. But, you know, oh, well, you care more about that kind of stuff than you do about what's going on in your own communities. It's sad. And I see a lot of people that do that. But I wanted to share this. This is why I wanted you to, I play the Tulsi Gabbard thing, is because this is the kind of stuff that Trump is doing and his people are doing every single day. This kind of stuff is happening. And I know because I have friends that do work for the Shepherd Watch Foundation and other foundations that do stuff to save children and trafficked people. Women are trafficked, men are trafficked, children are trafficked, males and females. So all of them are done. And just like everybody talks about Epstein, well, those women are now grown, okay? And they all took part of $200 million that they got from the Epstein estate. So most of them got money. And some of them committed suicide. Some of them had horrible things. But we have people right now that's happening to right now. And I don't hear anybody griping about that. I don't even see people applauding when stuff like I'm going to show you is even on TV. Nobody even shares it. I see people clicking on a girl with her tits all hanging out and she's rubbing herself. Come see my webcam and blah, blah, 1 million views on it. And then something like this goes by, 2,500. Wow. Way to go, America. We're doing really great. Yeah. Care about kids, but you bitch about it constantly, but you don't do anything about it. So here we go. I'm going to show you this. They rescued 109 children in Dallas after arresting 244 predators. If this is why they caught, what does that say about what's still hidden? If that's how much they caught. So there's billions and billions of kids around the world in the last 10 years, I guess, that have been trafficked. So
why isn't anybody talking about the fact that today in Dallas, Texas, the FBI and police arrested 244 people in a child trafficking ring? You heard what I just said? In Dallas, Texas, they arrested 244 people that were child predators. And the best part about this whole thing is that they found 109 missing children. So apparently this trafficking ring has been going on for a very, very long time. But the FBI and the police are saying that this is only the beginning. They're about to start. So why isn't any?
But the thing is, now, okay, now these kids need counseling. They're going to need help. They're going to need therapy. They're going to need people around them to support them, to help them get back, to try to maybe be kids again, because they're no longer a normal child because of what they've been through, which just means they've been sexually abused. Okay, I think you guys would understand that. You're not normal when you're a small child and that kind of stuff happens to you. And guess what? A lot of the little girls will never be able to have children because of the abuse. Okay, so you think about that. So their lives are never going to be the same. But they're going to need help. What are we supposed to do? We can't lock them up and keep them in, a sane asylum for the rest of their life. We got to try to help them become people, grow up and be able to have a life that was taken from them. Then we have to have judges that'll actually prosecute all these people that they caught. 244 child molesters. And I think it was a couple months back, I showed you a small snippet of what's his name? Oh, shoot. I can't remember his name. I just went blank. Glenn Beck talking about this one judge that had a couple of rapists that came up before him that had been raped. Like 20-something people have been arrested and put back out on the street again. Because it wasn't the judge's kid. It wasn't the judge's grandkid. It wasn't any of the people in the court or any people in the law people, whatever, the important people's families that were abused. So they didn't give a shit. Just like that guy that stabbed that girl on the bus, right? He just walked up to her and stabbed her and killed her. And he'd been let out, 40 times? So if we don't have judges that will prosecute, it doesn't matter how many people Trump's administration arrests, if they're all going to get thrown back out on the street. When you got people fighting law enforcement over illegal citizens, and you think they're going to let us put these people in prison? And then when we do get bad people, like the guy, I can't remember his name right this second, but he killed his pregnant wife and both his little daughters and put their little bodies inside these giant oil tanks and stomped on their little heads to get them to go down into the deal because he wanted to have sex with some other woman and didn't want to have to pay out money for his kids and his wife. It's disgusting. Well, guess what? Because he was getting death threats in jail, they put him in his own little area where pedophiles are staying in Colorado, in that prison. Because there's a whole prison just for those kind of men that do that to their families and to little girls, so they won't be attacked by the other prisoners. So that's where your money goes. It's paying for those guys to get to work out and get on the internet and get nice meals and a place to sleep, and get to have women writing them letters and buying cigarettes for them and all that good stuff. That's where the money comes from. Comes from us paying taxes. We take care of those people, but we don't want to take care of these people. We don't want to keep these people in jail. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with them. I'll try to update when I find out anything about it. But that's the sad truth, is that this kind of stuff happens every day, yet nobody wants to talk about it, because that's it's not funny. It's not sexy. It's not whatever. It's not entertaining, I guess. But it's entertaining when you can get a good laugh out of them. I don't know. I just don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me that these people do this ton of stuff and nobody wants to care. Nobody cares that we can't get our judges. It's been over a year and Trump's still waiting. He's got a whole list of federal judges he wants to put in. So after they arrested Comey and indicted him, and it's got thrown out because got a good liberal judge. So what do you think is going to happen to Clintons when they get to go in there, and everyone else that they bring in? They're going to get a free walking orders. So if it was you, guess what? You wouldn't get free walking orders. Your ass is going to jail unless you can pay all the money to get the good lawyers and get out, or pay your way out like some of these other people are doing. But all I can do is give you the information. If nobody wants to get off their ass and try to do anything, there's nothing I can do about it. So let me go to the next thing. Hold on. Okay, let's see. What was this other one? Oh, I should have got rid of that one already. Sorry, I have to go through this list. Oh, okay. Now, I wanted to give an award to this gentleman, but I'm going to play this video first. Let's see. It's called it's number 8. So hopefully I can get the right one and bring it up. Because it's so funny how I can find these and they're not in order. I don't know why they're not in order. I know you guys don't understand what I'm talking about because you're not backstage, but it's just irritating because it's supposed to set it up 1, 2, 3 in order, and then you're able to, pull it up and present it, but it doesn't work that way. And plus, for some reason, my pictures aren't working, so I can't even see the video that I'm supposed to be able to bring up. And I have 6 of them now that say 8 on it. So, but I think this is the one. So let me bring it up because this just happened. And this guy is the same one that I've seen multiple pictures of from J6. He was supposedly a Trumper, and then he was a FBI agent, and then he was a Capitol Police officer. He's been all these different characters, and Nancy Pelosi really likes him. But this was a outside the court. I think the guy that did the they were talking to Congress, asking them why they were bugging, senators' phones and stuff like that. And he was at the court. I didn't get to watch it because I have a real work and stuff outside of the computer industry. So I just grabbed it after I got to watch some of the stuff. But here, I'm going to play this for you. Real whippersnapper of a little reporter.
Officer Fanone, how are you today?
I'm great.
What happened in there?
What are you talking about?
That confrontation.
Jack Smith testified about how he had proof beyond reasonable doubt that Donald Trump incited, orchestrated, and funded the insurrection at the Capitol on January 6, 2021.
It seemed like there was a fight in there.
No, there was no fight.
Is it true, Officer Fanone, that you turned off your own body camera on January 6th?
No.
I saw your body cam. You turned it off yourself. You were playing dead. I saw your body cam footage.
You're a fucking
What am I?
right-wing conspiracy theorist.
I saw you turn off your body cam footage, sir. But thank you for disrespecting me. Psychopath. Officer Fanone.
Yeah, what a wonderful person he is, isn't he? They're all like that. Every single liberal I've ever talked to, as soon as you throw the truth back at them, you're a fucking whore, you're a cunt, you're a slut, you're everything. You're a racist, you're a Nazi, you're everything. You're every single bad thing there is except them. So I just think it's hilarious because they're disgusting. I don't even want to shake hands with people like that. He disgusts me. And the only way to get the truth out is by going to court. I guess we have to go to court and see all this stuff and listen to this shit. And they're going to drag it as long as they can because they're well funded. I had a guest on my show about 6 months ago, and she went undercover with Antifa in Oregon. And she said that there were a bunch of people during all the riots and things like that. They had vests on and they had ball caps. Different ones had ball caps, some had vests, and they were green, a different color. And as soon as someone got arrested, they would follow the cop there and bail them out, get them back out. So who's paying for it? See, that's what people should be bitching and moaning about, is how do these people get right back out on the street? Who's funding these people? Because if they're writing checks to these people to be official protesters from one city to another with official signs and whatever else. I mean, shit. When they come to your town and they burn down your buildings and stuff, then you'll give a shit. But by then it's too late. Too many things have already, happened. Too many people have been hurt. I mean, I just saw another video where a woman is in her car. They shot at her too because she ran over a cop. She ran right over him. So apparently they think that they're above the law simply because they got people that pay them to be hoodlums. And the people that pay never get in trouble. Okay, this guy right here helped Nancy Pelosi stage a whole fake insurrection. Not one person went to prison for insurrection. They were all for misdemeanors and shit. And a lot of them sat in jail for years with no due process. But nobody gives a shit about that either. It's sure funny how, everybody bitches and moans about so many things except for stuff that really matters. I don't know. I just don't get it. Just have no idea what's going on. None of this makes any sense to me. I wish it did. I really want it to. I want to understand. I really do. It's just nuts. I just don't see how people can bitch and moan about so much shit, but not want to do a damn thing about it. But they just want to sit around and gripe about it. And here I am in the jury pool for federal court in the state of Arkansas, waiting for my next phone call to see if I got to show up at the courthouse in Little Rock, which is over 87 miles away. But no, I don't know. But I'm going to go because that's my duty. And I'd hope that if I'm ever in federal court, somebody gets off their ass and tries to go and be a good jury member for another American citizen that might be innocent. So I don't know. It's just pathetic. So, but this next thing I want to share goes along with what I just played. Let me pull it up. I think it's this one. I'll have to go there and look at it and see. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna pause it. Make sure it's turned up. It's her 2 cents on this guy. This idiot and that same loser. So hold on, let me make it bigger. I can't figure out how to do it. There we go. All right, now I push play. Damn it, gotta go the other way. I clicked on the wrong one. Okay, this is the one I want to click on, but I had to make it bigger.
You know how all those cops went up in front of the American people a few days ago for the January 6th commission talking about how traumatized they were? Remember this guy?
Because I was among the vastly outnumbered group of law enforcement officers protecting the Capitol and the people inside it. I was grabbed, beaten, tased, all while being called a traitor to my country.
Yeah, that guy. Well, that guy was actually not in uniform, and he was not there as a Capitol Police officer. He was there as an FBI plant.
The dude was there, carrying a Confederate flag. You can't make this shit up. It's him, and he thought he was going to get away with it.
Once again, unraveling of the narrative, because the narrative wasn't strong because it wasn't true. So we can try again, try again. But guess what, guys? Release the FBI files, and you will see who's really guilty.
Okay, well, she had that to say. And then I have this other video with another point of view for the same guy in another section, an area of something that happened to him that he's supposedly testified for. So I'm going to show you that. So give me a second. I got to bring it up. I think it's this one. Yeah. Okay. Now I'll pause it because I don't know why it starts before I even push anything. It won't let me pause it.
I remember.
Okay. I'm going to hold it like that. It won't let me even hold it. See, it doesn't want me to share this with you. I didn't do anything. Sorry.
I remember looking down and seeing this crowd like attacking Mike. And
this guy right here.
Somebody from the crowd was dragging him up toward me. And I remember grabbing him and pulling him back behind me. And then once I knew that other officers were pulling him back, I turned back around to make sure nobody else was.
Okay, now I gotta turn it down, mute it, because it's gonna keep playing. I can't do anything about it. The thing is, that was him, the guy that just called that woman a fucking piece of shit or whatever a minute ago. Okay. He was being saved by J6ers because he beat Antifa rioters who then retained him or retaliated by pulling him down to the ground, and they were tasing him and stuff. Trump supporters helped him back. They're the ones that helped him. They helped him, and he got him, pushed him through the crowd to get away from the Antifa people. But yet, when he testified, he said it was these people right here that are pushing him through the crowd, trying to pull him and get him out because there's so many people, that these are the people that tased him and attacked him. See, there's tons of evidence. It's just that they don't want you to see it. They don't want you to know the truth, that these people that were there didn't cause an insurrection. But see, they don't want you to see that because they want you to think that what's going on in Minnesota is just normal protesting. This is bullshit. All of this is just so shitty and so much lies and so much propaganda because we have a media that doesn't have to do anything. They can say and do whatever they want, and there's nothing we can do about it because of a document that a president signed to make this possible. So until we get rid of that, I don't see how we're going to do anything. Hi, Tree Rock Creations. Thank you for stopping in. I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time doing this and trying to do the chat and stuff. I can't read the chat when I'm on another page because when I'm at it, I have to go to another page to bring it up to show it and turn it on and off or whatever and turn it up and all that. And it's not on here. I can't see any of this stuff. So that's why it's nice to have other people that are on there that can bring stuff up or whatever. But I don't have that tonight. They weren't able to join me. I saw Ruben on another channel doing a different show. So, you know, and Tommy has not been well. He's been sick. And Rex, his dog's been really sick, so he hasn't been able to be on here with me. But, you know, it's okay. I don't mind doing it by myself. I mean, I do a lot of stuff by myself. I take care of a lot of stuff by myself. So, oh, well, it's just the way it is. But someone said that the reason the Virginia elections turned out that way, they did because of a huge percentage of all the federal employees in America live in Virginia. I can believe that. Definitely liberals voted for her because they knew what they were going to get. I mean, you can tell if she won and they had halfway fair elections that liberals voted for her. I mean, that makes perfect sense. That's why I didn't even fathom the fact that maybe Obama didn't win on his own. You know, I believed that he won because I did believe in the system and I worked the polls, and the polls that I worked, I didn't see people cheat. And the way that we did it and the way that we counted, to me, it's a good system. It works. If everyone's there and not cheating and pulling out boxes out from under tables and stuff like that, I didn't see any of that stuff. And I was there until we were done counting the last ballot, and we did it by hand. So, and it can be happen, but I was there until it was done, and we were sworn in to do what we were supposed to do. Everyone, by a judge, we were sworn in. So, you know, we all can only do what we're capable of doing and what we're willing to do. And if you're not willing to do anything, then step out of the way and let someone by you that's willing to do it. You know, don't impede others that want to help. That's what I'm trying to say. Let others do the work. You could babysit, or you could make a sandwich for that person so they can stay longer. You know, little things like that make a difference. Be a silent partner. You know, the person that sits behind and makes sure that the other people are taken care of so that they can do a good job. You know, there's always something that you can do to help. And I really truly believe that. But I believe that that guy, his name is Michael Fanwan, I think is how you say his last name. But yeah, I think he deserves this. I just love that because he is a dickhead. I mean, Hillary Clinton's a dickhead too. There's a lot of dickheads out there, and I can say that. I live in America and I'm an American citizen. I have the right to say that. And that's exactly what I think that they are. And it's my opinion. So there you go. That's why I play all those things at the beginning of the show, the disclaimers, because this is my opinion, and if no, I'm not forcing anyone to have to listen to me. I mean, even if nobody watched me, I'm still going to do it because I'm already paying to do it. This is my therapy. This is me getting it off my chest. And if I get one person that finds out something that I didn't know, then to me, it was even worth, yay, great. We got another person on our side because they actually listened to the facts and looked into it on their own. They're now researching, digging down the rabbit holes or whatever you want to call it. But to me, we all have to do something. We all need to pay attention, watch things after you get off from work. Watch things while you're in the bathtub. That's what I do. I take a bubble bath and I set my phone there and I watch videos like the one I'm about to show. This is a Congressman Brandon Gill interviewing Jack Smith. And I think it's very important that people know about what's going on, but most people don't. And that whole reaction you saw from that Michael Van one when he came out and said that nasty, horrible stuff to that reporter simply because she said, I saw your camera footage. I saw you turn off your camera because he was wearing it. See, that's why every single person in those positions that have to wear a body cam, and they shouldn't be able to turn them off. I think they should have to, they're fixed. They can't do anything with them. So we'll always have video cameras because then the video shows what they did, what they said, and what the other people did. So it's facts, it's truth. Who doesn't want truth? The only reason you turn it off is because you don't want it to be filmed. I mean, I don't know. To me, that's the only thing that makes any common sense. But apparently we don't have common sense that much anymore, do we, in our country? But I want to play this because it's very informative. Golly,
how many days after Kevin McCarthy was sworn in as Speaker did you subpoena his records?
I don't recall, but those two things had nothing to do with one.
It was 16 days after becoming the highest ranking Republican in the House of Representatives. You subpoenaed his toll records. Do you agree that that might reasonably be considered a violation of the speech or debate clause?
I do not, and I want to be clear that the toll
records... You were
records...
collecting months' worth of phone data on the Republican Speaker of the House, the leader of the opposition, right after he got sworn in as Speaker, all around the time of a major vote. That sounds like a flagrant violation of the speech or debate clause to me, and I think most people agree with me. And Speaker McCarthy had no recourse, did he? Because you issued a non-disclosure order ensuring that neither he nor any of the American people knew about these subpoenas. Is that right?
The toll record, the non-content toll record subpoenas, we did secure non-disclosure orders for those subpoenas.
You did, and let me ask you, Mr. Smith, at the time you secured those non-disclosure orders, was Speaker McCarthy a flight risk?
The non-disclosure order was based on concerns about...
Was Speaker McCarthy a flight risk?
He was not.
He was not. Then why did your non-disclosure order refer to him as a flight risk? It says right here, the court finds reasonable grounds to believe that such disclosure will result in flight from prosecution.
Sir, when securing a non-disclosure order, the risks don't have to be associated.
You think that the Speaker of the House is a flight risk?
The question?
No, this is not your time. This is my time. You think the Speaker of the House is a flight risk? You think he's going to hop on a plane and leave the country?
No, what I was trying to explain is with respect to a non-disclosure order, the risks aren't necessarily associated with the subscriber to the phone. They're the risks to the investigation.
I think that you were using, this was clearly in reference to Speaker McCarthy, and you were using clearly false information to secure a non-disclosure order to hide from Speaker McCarthy and from the American people the fact that you were spying on his toll records.
Yeah, 100%. All these people are criminals. All of these people stabbed all of us in the back, basically. These are criminals. They were hiding things from us. They went behind our backs, undermined our decision as American citizens. That's treason against our country. It's treason against us. That's why our forefathers came up with the Constitution, and the Bill of Rights. Okay. And these people think they're better than us. They're above us. We're nothing but a bunch of cockroaches that are nothing but to work and pay their way. That's it. That's all we are to them. That's how they treat us. All of us have one of those people in our families. We've all grown up with a relative that has treated us that way, that you're beneath them, and they talk down to you and tell you you're stupid, or they treat you bad all the time. That's these people. These are all narcissistic assholes that think you and I are worthless. And once your worthlessness runs out, which means you're no longer able to work, that now you're in a nursing home, we'll just give you medicine to keep you drugged up, because we're not even going to pay to have surgery and stuff because it's too expensive. That's us. That's how they think about us. And it's sad, but that is a fact. Actions speak louder than words. I say that all the time. What are these people doing? Not what they're blabbing. They're all saying the same thing. You could change one channel to another and they all say the exact same shit, because they all read from the same script. But what are they doing? Not what they're saying. And what they're doing is stealing from you and me, from all the money that we've worked our ass off, the chicken plant or Firestone or any other factory, waiting tables, cleaning bathrooms, making beds at a hotel, being a cashier, bagging groceries, being a grease monkey, any of these jobs, okay? Regular jobs that most Americans have, being a laborer, something. You're not a lawyer like these people. Most of these people are lawyers. They're the ones that write the laws that you and I have to live and abide by. And if we don't, guess what happens to us? We go to jail. But see, they can break the law, say and do whatever they want, walk around and say, fuck you, and take our money. And we're supposed to go, oh, okay. Well, sure, here's our money. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me that people aren't upset about this shit. This is who you should be mad at. And look, this guy is asking legitimate questions. He's trying to do his job. He's a decent guy that got voted in, and he's doing the best he can with what he's got because his hands are tied by other people like this guy, this Jack Smith. These people are in every nook and cranny in government. And we think that Trump's going to go in and say, okay, everybody's fired. Well, he can't. They won't let him do that. He can't just fire everyone. We have to have people running the government. But look at them. Look how much the trillions of dollars that they've found that's been stolen from us. Our country, when they're done, if we can let them finish in 4 years, we probably won't be in debt. Not because we didn't spend the money, but because the money was taken fraudulently. We should arrest all these people, find out who took the money, take their homes, take all their shit, and put the money back where it belongs. That's what I think that should happen. What are they going to do to you? If you embezzled money from your company and they found out, do you think you'd still have a nice fancy car and a nice house? No. They'd then take your shit and put you in prison. Why shouldn't that happen to these people? It should. I mean, it's supposed to be equal under the law. If they break the law, they should go to jail for it. Take them to court. Do whatever, do whatever they would do to you or me. I think they should be punished. I don't give a shit who they are. I don't care if they're rhinos or liberals or whoever. These people, they have tons of evidence that they did certain things. They should go to jail for it, period. Not just because somebody said so, but because they have evidence. Just like what happened with Hillary Clinton, the huge Whitewater scandal was going on with Hillary Clinton. She swore under oath to congressmen and stuff in our state and said she never saw those papers. She never saw those documents. As soon as she's in the White House, guess what? They find her fingerprints on documents from the Whitewater case. She lied under oath. Nothing happened to her because she's Hillary Clinton. And I might get Clintonized because I said that. And I'm not suicidal at all. And if I get shot in the back of the head and they say, oh, she killed herself and she shot herself twice in the back of the head. Yeah, sure I did. Ridiculous. But actions speak louder than words. People that do stuff without blabbing all the time, they're getting stuff done. Just like what I showed earlier, 244 people were arrested and they saved 109 kids. Nobody's talking about that except for me and a few others because they actually give a shit that kids were saved. But this kind of stuff is important too. But I want to see this person not just talked to. I want to see him arrested for what he did. If you went and got a bug and whatever else and bugged your ex-wife's phone or your soon-to-be ex-wife's phone and her lover's phone and he happened to be a doctor, whatever shit, right? You'd probably go to prison if they found out that you did that because that's against the law. But because he got a judge, which is what I'm trying to say about all the crooked judges that are out there, and that Trump needs Congress to get them passed through so he can get these judges out and get these new ones in to where we can actually prosecute these people. Do you think this guy right here, when they put the cuffs on him and take him to a federal court in Virginia or Washington or one of these other states or California or New York, that he's going to actually be put in prison for anything? Hell no, he ain't. They're going to just throw it out just like they did with Comey. But I guess everybody, I don't know why people don't listen. I mean, I'm not even smart. I didn't get a degree. Okay. This is just from me listening and paying attention. I don't know. I just don't understand. I'm just an American that wants to be able to have laws for everyone, not just me and you. What about them? I want to see people punished for breaking the law, cheating, stealing billions of dollars from the taxpayers. Why we have veterans that are homeless, that are going without meals. They don't have medicine, even though they sacrificed for our country, because they're taking the money and giving it to illegals or sending it to another country, saying they sent it to another country, or they give it to a bunch of people that are here illegally and then line their own pockets with the money because they got fake daycares all over the place in every state. You know, it's stuff like that. They say find an easy way to steal money, launder money, whatever. And all that money that was going to Ukraine, shit, they were buying mansions and fancy cars, and a lot of it was coming back and going back into the Biden's house and whoever else's house that was in office. Nancy Pelosi, all of them were making money off of that whole deal. Because believe me, if Russia wanted to go in, all they have to do is drop a few bombs and there'd be nothing left. Ukraine would be gone. If that's what Putin really wanted to wipe them out. I've seen them do it. I've seen other countries wipe out a whole race of people. I mean, we saw during the Nazis what they did. They almost killed every Jew there was on the planet. It can be done. And Russia didn't do that. They could have. So I'm just saying, you guys, people are so gullible. They believe everything. I got people that I talk to that think that Hillary Clinton's a clone, that all these people are not even real. It's just a show they're putting on for us. But why? Why waste their time making clones of all these people if they're all in Gitmo or they've already been executed and shit? It just doesn't make any sense. It's stupid. It's just stupid stuff like that, that it makes people like me that really want the truth look bad, like I'm some kind of conspiracy theorist because that guy happens to say he's conservative, so I'm just like that. Well, no, I'm not. I don't believe there's a bunch of clones running around that our government pays to have clones to replace people because we already killed them all because they're all executed and blah, blah, blah. And we just have to play this out so the people understand what's going on. People aren't even fucking paying attention. They don't even care that 109 kids were saved. See, they're off doing whatever, getting on their porn websites or looking up, swiping left and right to try to hook up with another person, shit like that. That stuff's what's important. These people are going to the bar and having a few drinks and watching rigged football, stuff like that. That's what's important to people. This kind of stuff doesn't seem to be important for some reason. This should be the most important. If you have a family, if you have a kid, and you want your kid to grow up in a country where it doesn't matter whether a man or a woman or what their skin tone is, that they go to college and they go somewhere and apply for a job on their skills, and they get hired and they can buy their own house and they can have their own car and they can get married and have their own family. Isn't that what every American wants? The dream, to raise your family to where your children can sustain themselves and do the same thing and raise their own family. And then you're a great grandmother one day or a great grandpa watching your great great grandkids running around while you're still able to sit up and communicate and stuff before you pass away. But I don't understand what people want. I mean, what do you want? My goal was, as a little girl, was to fly around in a Star Trek Enterprise, go to different planets and shit, dress up in costumes and go to Comic-Cons and be my favorite characters, shit like that. I still want to do that today, and I'm an adult, but I want to have a good time, but I don't want to have a good time on someone else's dime. I don't expect anybody else to pay my way, but we have half our country are people that think that everyone else owes them something. It's because we've raised a bunch of coddled babies. I mean, they can't do anything for themselves. I mean, half the men in this country, I don't even think can even change a tire on a car because we're not teaching the next generation to take care of themselves and to step up to the plate when someone else is not around anymore. What happens when mom and dad are gone? Who's going to take care of you? I lost my mother already, and my father, I don't know, he's not doing too well right now, but I can change a tire. I can go hunt. I can fish. I can clean a fish. I can clean a squirrel. I can clean different other animals. I know how to raise chickens. I know how to do a lot of things, but because I want to be able to take care of myself. And everybody should want to do that. And if I have to work in a chicken plant, so be it. I'll do that. I can do that too. I'm not afraid of work. I'm not afraid of going out and, cutting limbs off trees or raking yards or whatever, because I'd rather do that than have to show my ass on OnlyFans, because that's the only way I can get $1, or sell myself on the street, or to buy drugs or alcohol or whatever these people do for money. I don't have to do that. I'm not too good to get my hands freaking dirty. I don't want to if I don't have to. No one does, but I'm not ashamed to do it. Oh, hi, Bone. Thank you for stopping in. I'm sorry if I'm just seeing you just now. I don't even know how long you posted in there. I go off on my rants, but it's sad. Our state of our country is in such turmoil, and all people care about is Epstein files, stuff like that. I just don't understand with all this other shit that's going on. And to me, everything that Trump has done, he's not perfect. He's a man. He's just a man, just like any of you men. He puts his pants on one leg at a time, pulls them up and zips them and does the same damn thing. He pees the same way. Burps, he eats food, he makes mistakes because he's a man. None of us are perfect. Not a single person ever walked on this planet except for Jesus Christ that was perfect. All of us make mistakes. I hate to say that to people because a lot of people don't want to believe, oh man, I'm perfect. I do everything right. Well, we don't. We all make mistakes. None of us are perfect. And not even Trump. Even though he wants to be perfect, I can see that he's trying to do the right thing. He tried to pick the right people to do their jobs, and he's trying to get us to understand that it's our country and that we need to fight too. We can't just sit around and say, well, it's not my problem. It is your problem. You're living here. Yeah. Oh, it's just ridiculous. I'm sorry. I hope well, I don't mean to be such a bitch about it, but I can't help it. I just get so upset because I don't understand how people can be so blind and just look around and just think that, oh, nothing I can do about it. It's not my problem. But then they bitch about it anyways, but they don't do anything. They don't make any effort. It just drives me nuts. Sorry. But let's see, what was the next thing I had? So that was a good interview, I thought. Okay, it says center. Is it this one? Okay. Now, I think this is the one about the church. Yeah. I want to share this. This happened in America. We had Don Lemon and a whole bunch of other people. He's a journalist, and just because you're a journalist doesn't mean you can just barge into a personal private property like a church where people are praying and worshiping their religion. I can tell you right now, I wish I could prove it. I really do, because I believe it in my heart that he wouldn't do this in a mosque. If he'd done it in a mosque, the people, the media, everybody would have went crazy. But because he did it in a different church that wasn't a mosque, there wasn't a big stink. Most people, who cares? But these people have the right to worship in their church, just like if people in a mosque have the right to worship in a mosque. But if they're out in the street praying on private, not private property, then nobody has to let them do that. They don't have to let them take up the whole street. They should have to arrest them and move them out of the road or whatever if they're blocking traffic, because I pay taxes to have a road so I can go shop, go to work or whatever. I don't go into their church and say, okay, I'm going to run my business in here since you guys are in the street where I can't go to my job. Things like that. Just ridiculous and stupid. The law has to be fair for everyone. Every person has to follow the law. At least that's what I thought when I grew up. That's how it worked. But apparently I was wrong. If I'm not the right skin color, or if I don't have the right religion, then all that goes out the window. Especially since I'm a woman. I would never get away with it. If I walked into a mosque, they'd probably kill me right then and just cut my head off, because I'd be an infidel, because I'm not covering my hair. I don't have my face covered, and they might see my ankles or something. That means I'm a slut and a whore. So they wouldn't want me in their church anyway. So please stay off the streets. Stay in your church. These people should be arrested for what they did, and I hope they get them all arrested. And I do have a few arrests. I think 3 that I'm going to share. So they have arrested some people, but this guy, as far as I know, he hasn't been arrested yet. But he should have been the first one, because he's the one that incited this whole thing, I think, just to get a few clicks on his website, or I don't know, whatever, because he thinks he's better than everyone. Just like I said earlier, he's a narcissistic pig that thinks he's above the law because of who he is. He's better than you and me. We're just pieces of shit. We're nothing. But I'm going to play this real quick. Here we go.
So you can see the protesters here have gathered over here. They're in the middle of the church. So in the beginning of the church service, the pastor was speaking, and Nakima stood up and said her piece, and then the protesters surrounded her. But this is a clandestine mission. I think they found out according to them, this is according to Operation Pull Up, that one of the pastors here is a member of ICE. And so here we go. Yeah.
Okay. The whole reason, this is their excuse for going into the church and causing this chaos in front of children, grandparents, people that came to church to worship. This is what they had to deal with, because they say that the pastor of this church was a member of ICE. Okay, so just think about that for a minute. Now, put it in your situation at your house. One of these people says, that guy looks like that guy that worked for ICE, and he just went in that house over there. We're going to bust in, and we're going to get him. And it's your house. and they kick the door in and push in, and you're having dinner with your family. Your kids are screaming. They don't know what's going on. What do you think is going to happen to them? Do you think anything's going to happen to those people when they do that to your house because they think you work for ICE? See, it's bullshit. If they broke into your house, you'd have every right to shoot them or defend your family in any way you see fit, just like this church. And if this church had been in Texas, I'm telling you right now, somebody might have been shot, because in places like Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Texas, people can carry guns into their church. And many people have saved lives by shooting someone who broke into their church and attacked people that were worshiping. So, this is ridiculous. This is not a protest. This is an invasion. They invaded into this property, pushing their point of view onto these worshipers. Were the worshipers out there grabbing these people and dragging them in and forcing them to worship with them? No. See, that's what's ridiculous about it. It's okay for them to do exactly what these other people weren't doing. But yet the other people are the ones that are bad. See, that's what's fucked up about this whole thing. It's fucked up. This is messed up big time. This is terrible. This is not America. This is the kind of shit that happens in a communist country, where the communists push their weight around on the other people. Because if you're not a communist, then you're just a piece of shit that deserves to die, basically, in the street. We'll just stone you to death because you don't deserve to be here. That type of thing. And that isn't what our country is based on. Our forefathers would be going, what the fuck are you guys done to our country? That's what they would be thinking. I think so. Because I just look at this and I'm shocked. As an Air Force brat, growing up on a military base, I can't see any of this happening on a military base. Now, it probably will now. It probably does now, because it's been years, since I'm an adult now. But we used to get up every morning and say the Pledge of Allegiance. And sometimes we'd go to the square and we'd watch them raise the flag and stuff. I mean, it was so patriotic. Everybody seemed to love this country. And all I see now is hate. All these people hate this country. They want all of us patriotic people that love our country. They want me dead. They want to run me over in a car. They want to come and shoot me. They want to come to my house and kill me. I've had people tell me they want to slit my throat in my sleep because of what I say. And they can't understand what I say because I got Trump's dick in my mouth. I get all kinds of horrible comments like that. People hate me. And I'm just a teeny tiny channel. I'm not even a speck on the radar. But yet I get so much hate. People want me dead. They've threatened my life. It's horrible. It's sad. And now look, they're going in. Look at the kids. There's little kids sitting right over there. These people could care less if these kids have nightmares because of this. It's not their kid. They don't give a flying fuck. They could care less. Every single one of these people should be arrested. Any person that went into this church that wasn't a member of this church or wasn't invited as a guest to be there, that went there with this group of people, should be arrested. They broke the law. They're inciting violence. This is violence. This is terrorist action right here. That's how I see it. Any person that kicks in my door, comes in my house, that's a terrorist. That's someone who's wanting to commit assault on me. And they already assaulted me by breaking in my home. These people, that's what these people did. They assaulted everyone in here by forcing their way into their private area where they worship. Because now, every time they come here, that's all they're going to think about. This has tainted this church. They will never be able to go there again. And not these kids either, thinking that they're safe. And then what's going to happen? They have to chain their fucking doors shut to keep others from coming in and doing this again. And then what happens? They set the place on fire like that other crazy nut and then block the door so they can't get out. I mean, I'm telling you, we have got to start fighting back and saving our country from these people. that think that your life doesn't matter. Only they matter. Your feelings, your life, your kids, your home, your pet, anything about you doesn't matter except your check. Now, hand me your check and shut the fuck up. That's basically what these people do. And I guess you guys are happy with it. Not you, but the people that have letting this happen, they must be happy with it. Just like all those people that voted in that woman as their governor. Look at, they're all going to get fucked. But guess what? They're going to come to us and beg, please bail us out. We don't have the money. Screw them. I would love to be one of the people that stands up and says, fuck you. I ain't giving you one damn penny. Go sell your shit. Go sell all your cars, all your vehicles, whatever else, get the money you need to pay your own debt. That's what I would tell them. Oh, 100%. So that's just how I feel about it. But can't help it. It really pisses me off that they did this to this church. But okay, I'm gonna go to the next thing, which I think is if it's the right one, it's the one of them being arrested. So let me see. It's Eric is the name of it. Pull it up. There it is. Okay. I think this is it. Oh yeah, this is one of the ones. This is the one where Greg Gutfeld went off on these people about what they did to that church. So I wanted to play this because I really, really like him. I would love to meet him in person. I just think he's definitely thinks a lot like I do.
How you got here, and you won't admit that is the reason why we're. This isn't about immigration. It isn't about ICE. It isn't about Trump. It is about suicidal empathy that is driven by a rescue fantasy. You have all of these young, middle-aged women going out there because they have some kind of emptiness in their lives that are going out there in this kind of rescue delusion, helping people they don't know, strangers who are guilty of crimes. How can you defend that? This is not protesters going to a church. That is a mob. The people that invented the phrase safe spaces are breaking it up, frightening kids, right? These are the people that call us fascists and they're hunting people. These are the people that claim to defend women and yet are defending men who abuse women. These are the people that call us homophobic and yet they want to out ICE guys for using, I don't know, gay sex apps. Let's be honest here. Fry's a pussy. He's scared of these people, or else he would stand up for it. Calling it love, there's no such thing as a mob with love. And imagine showing this tape to Don Lemon 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and saying, is this where you saw yourself, Lemon? Crashing a church service, scaring kids, attacking a pastor? Was this your hope and dream to do this? Radicalization is gradual. Black Lives Matter is now bad guys matter. And now you'll defend anything. You're defending rapists. These are the people you're defending. On what and I'm going to go back. No. You had your chance. You brought this up. Where are the police? You know, when you have Hamas supporters and Jewish students, police make the separation. Antifa, Proud Boys, police make the separation. Pro-life and feminists, police make the separation. Somehow, that separation is not even here, even when the leaders are framing this as protesters versus persecutors, because that's part of this fantasy world that you live in, and yet they decide that they don't need cops to separate it. The ICE agents aren't supposed to deal with that. That's what the police do. So you got to ask yourself, why aren't the police there? Because it's a deliberate thing to create this spectacle. And then I'll finish. This is not an isolated thing. These rescue fantasies exist because the real power of women, which is in the roles of community, whether it's wife, mother, work, teaching, that stuff has been marginalized by our modern leftist culture that has to be replaced by activism. Your life is meaningless unless you're out there screaming at a cop's face. You have all these sad people out there in this liberation role playing, and you're egging it on. You should not be egging this on, Jessica. You know, we had this. This is a time for brave women.
Pathetic. Oh, I hope I never meet that woman. Because I know I can tell you right now, she wouldn't like my ass. Because I wouldn't give her the time of day. I guess I'm a bitch then, because if the person is disgusting and treats people beneath them, I don't give them respect. They don't deserve my respect. Just like I said, if that same group of people, every single one of the same people did exactly what they just did, but they did it in a mosque, I'm telling you, it'd be totally different on the news. These people would have been every one of them would have been arrested within an hour after it happened, or even faster than that. I'm telling you, I 100% believe that. So because of the church they went into is the reason why it was just like, oh, see, nobody was hurt. Yeah, they were hurt mentally. They were scarred mentally. Their house of worship will never be the same. It's stained now. It's never going to be the same. I would take everything from them. I'd sue them. I would sue the shit out of every single person that showed up. Every single one of them. There was a woman, I saw a video. It was a woman that went into a grocery store. She was in the parking lot ranting and screaming racist remarks. This was a black woman. And she attacked a toddler in a grocery cart in front of the mother. And the kid died. Just like what happened with the woman on the bus and many other people. A woman is set on fire. All these different things. But yet, because the other person is not white, we're supposed to act like, oh, well, we deserve it. We were all slave owners once. Well, guess what? I never owned a slave. And my great-grandmother was a Chickasaw Nation Indian and grew up on an Indian reservation. She was here well before any of these other people. Her people were already here when the Pilgrims came. So all that bullshit that you hear about this racist this and racist that, and you're racist because you got light skin, well, fuck you. I am not racist. I have black friends. I have Hispanic friends. I even dated an actual Indian gentleman from a reservation, not because he was an Indian, but because I liked him, because he was funny. He made me laugh. That's why I like people. I like people because they're entertaining, they're funny, or they're good people. That's who I hang with. If I hang with somebody and I think they're a stuck-up bitch or a fucking asshole, guess what? I don't have to talk to them anymore. And I don't. Just like I tell people, if you don't like me, I don't give a shit. It's not going to change my life at all. I'm still the same person I was before I met you. You know what I'm saying? And we all should live that way. We should all be proud to be who we are, because we're here for a reason. We just have to figure out what that reason is, and why God put you here. You know, you might live your whole life and be 80 years old before that one moment that you were put here on this earth happens, whatever it is. But I think we would know what it is, that we would feel it or understand, this is why I was here, to save that kid, or to save that dog from drowning, or whatever it is. I don't know, you know, because I can't pick and choose any of that stuff. Thank you, Bruce. That was sweet of you. It's all lit up. It looks different to the rest of them, but you gave somebody a membership, and it looks like Hardwick got it. Yeah, because his name's lit up now. So I guess that's how it works. I don't know. I've never done this before, so I have no idea how it works. So you have to explain it to me later on. But I can't help it. I go on a rant like that. I just get so upset because I don't understand how people can't just see it. When they look across the room and you see this stuff happening, how do they not understand what's going on? How do they not see it themselves? If you're a good person, you have to see it. I just don't see how you can't. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But let's see, what's this other one? Oh, okay, here is the one. The next one I want to bring up is this is the one woman that's being arrested. She was one of the people that broke into the church, and she's being arrested. But there's 3 people. This is a different one. This is just the one woman, and her last name's Allen, and I think she was a board member for the St. Paul School Board, and she was arrested for being one of the people that broke into that church. Now, I don't know yet because I haven't been able to read anything about all this stuff. I've been trying to get ready for this supposed storm that's coming. It's probably already storming outside. I have to go out and look and see if we got any snow or sleet or whatever. But that's why I'm all bundled up too, trying to stay warm. I hope all of you guys are staying warm too. If you got bad weather, it's supposed to be in the like 5 degrees or something this weekend, so it's gonna be really cold. But she was all smug and everything from the few videos that I got to watch, and it looked like the cops treated her really, nice. I didn't see them shoving her or nothing, but she wasn't fighting them either. See, that's another thing. If you get arrested, just do what you're told. It goes faster. You get your cuffs on, you go do your stuff, and then you get bailed out and it's over with, but you don't get beat up and have bruises all over you and stuff because they have to manhandle you. So, I don't know. I don't understand it. That's how my parents raised me, that if you get pulled over, if you see the lights, pull over. If you see lights behind you, that means the cops are trying to pull you over, or they're going to pass you because you're not their target. But if they follow you, do what they tell you. Hand them the license, do whatever they say, and everything will go by quickly. So far that's worked, but I've never gotten a ticket because I don't speed and I always wear my seatbelt. And I don't drink and drive, so I try to follow the law. I know I'm boring, but knock on wood, because I'll be the one to get a ticket for it. But I just wanted to share this real quick. It's only 30 seconds, but let me do this. Here we go.
Lockup's in there. We'll bring her in, stay off to the side. I know this only because I just did it once. Lockup's in there.
So that's it. They just all the video is showing her being, taken out of the vehicle and taken into the police department. But let me pull up this other one. Let's see. I just wish I could do this better. I just suck at this. I think this is it. Yeah, this is the other one that shows the 3 people that so far that they've arrested. Now, I don't know who's arresting them. I don't know if it's the police department or, it's Homeland Security. Okay, Homeland Security did it. It says that this is the lady we just saw, and then this is another person. I can't see. I don't see their name on here. And here's the other guy. This is the guy. If you saw the video we just saw, he had his phone holding it up in one of the parishioners' faces and yelling and screaming at him. He's a huge, tall guy. And I don't know if you guys have ever been approached by someone who's like 6 foot, 6'5", 6'7", really tall, and they come up to you and they just walk quickly towards you or whatever and come right up to you. It's intimidating, especially if they're way taller than you and you have to look up at them. It can be scary, especially if you don't know them and you don't know why they're hurrying up on you. You know what I mean? It's very intimidating. And I just wish everyone would pray for all those people that were in that church that had to deal with this, because for no reason of their own besides them being believing in God, it's why they were in church, and this happened to them. So, and I hope that all these people get prosecuted. I don't know what will happen. Depends on the court they get, I guess. Maybe they'll just get a slap on the wrist, or it's a first-time offense, so we're just going to give them time served. Not even fine them or anything. I don't know. I have no idea. But that's why we need good judges. We need judges that follow the laws, for that guy, that woman, whoever it is. If you're in front of him or her, you get the same process. And that's what I thought our court system was about. The last time I went to court was over a child molestation type thing. And he copped the deal because he was chicken shit and knew he'd probably get 60 years, didn't want 60 years. So he begged and cried and got 20. But every 5 years, that girl has to go and beg at the courts to keep him in prison. So she's victimized again and again and again. Pathetic the way that they do some of these things. Makes me want to barf. But yeah, that's why I can't help it. I'm very, very anal about this shit because it is personal to me. Some of these things, some of the stories behind it are personal. And I'm sure all of you have something that's happened that when you see something, it makes you, has that little bug gets off in your body because it irritates you because it's something that you've had to deal with personally. So, okay, this next one I want to do is another good thing that's been going on that we actually have. I think it's this one. Oh, yeah, here it is. Okay, this young man, we should all be proud that we still have young people like this that have dignity and love this country and just want the truth to come out. Because I'm sure we have millions of them. It's just that the news never talks about them because they're nobody, right? They're not going to sell newspapers or whatever. They're not going to make bank off of them. So they basically don't care or talk about it. And plus, the narrative doesn't sit well with the media that likes spreading propaganda anyways, as we know, because of the Smith-Mundt Act, like I've mentioned many, many times on my show, until we can get rid of that. See, that's another thing Congress could be doing, getting rid of shit like that. Except we have to have a president that has to do everything by executive order, which the next president can just write another executive order and get rid of all of it, just like Biden did for his first month, just sat and wrote executive orders to take out the ones that we had already done before. And because we have a Congress that doesn't like Trump, it doesn't want us, the ones who put him in office, to get what we asked for. As you could just say, like earlier, and I showed you the 76 rhinos that voted against kids being able to be mutilated, and voted against the NGOs being defunded and shit like that, because they're nothing but Democrats with an R next to their name instead, because their actions speak louder than their words, because what they did proves they're not conservative. So this young man has a good future if somebody doesn't take him out or do something horrible to him, because he's somebody that's trying to stand up for dignity and respect and the truth. So I just think it's horrible. But this came across my timeline because I follow Gunther. I've been following him on TikTok before I even got on X, but I like him. He shares good stuff. He says, Nick Shirley is owning it in D.C. today. He's in a congressional hearing and not holding back. One daycare, a learning center, spelled quality learning center instead of quantity learning center. I think it's hilarious. But they had received 1.9 million, yet with that 1.9 million, they could not even spell learning right on their sign. That's one of the things that he talked about. God, if I sat down and tried to write a book or a screenplay and put all this shit in it, no one would believe it. They would say, oh, it's just too far-fetched. That will never happen. And when we're seeing it every fucking day in reality, that's what's scary. It's like we're in the Twilight Zone for real. But here we go. I'll play this for you. Sorry.
We go to a daycare, and I'm instantly surprised by what we see. We arrived, and it was an industrialized building, and there was 2 daycares registered at that building. And the first thing I noticed is all the windows are blacked out, and there's no footprints in the snow of any children. There's no playgrounds or anything that would make it look like it's a childcare. But above me, a sign read, open 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. But there was nobody there. The doorbell did not even work. And then we continued to go to other daycares, and we noticed the same pattern. No children, blacked out windows, and one daycare, a learning center, spelled Quality Learning Center instead of Quality Learning Center. They had received $1.9 million, yet with that $1.9 million, they could not even spell leering right on their sign. We go to a daycare, and I'm instantly surprised by what we see. We arrived and it was an industrialized building, and there was 2 daycares registered at that daycare, at that building.
I was writing something on my chat. So, but he is adorable. I mean, he makes me proud to be an American. This is all I expect from our young people. Articulate. He's well spoken, and he's talking. He's saying the truth, and he's talking about something because he feels it's important that the other people know about it. See what I mean? I don't know. I wish we had a whole United States filled with young men like that and young women that were willing to, go out and do that and risk the hate that he's going to have to put up with. I showed a very small segment of him with the other gentleman. They were going to a couple places to see if the business where they said that they were renting cars, that you could rent vehicles for $50 a trip or whatever. And he was trying to show that that was another way that they are, stealing money from the state of Minnesota by a fraudulent business that doesn't exist, because they're like, where are they parking all the vehicles? They got to have at least 10 to 20 vehicles to do all the trips that they say they do every week. Where are the cars? And there's no business. They gave addresses, but the fact that that people are involved all in different levels of government, because for one, they apply for a license and nobody goes to the business to see if it's even being run properly. Nobody inspects the business. Nobody's making sure the vehicles are safe or have seatbelts in them, so that when they go pick up people from the nursing home or the daycare or whatever and travel around, that they're safe. To get insurance on the vehicles, all the different things that they need. Do they even have tags on their vehicles? None of these steps were filled, yet they were getting millions of dollars to run this business. That's what I'm talking about. And I'm not even smart. See, I'm not even a smart person. I'm just a normal person that never even went to college all the way through. I took a couple classes outside of college to become a florist. But I don't know anything about all this kind of stuff about insurance and I can barely even do what I'm doing right here. If it hadn't been for Bruce, I wouldn't even be doing this. And I cried. I did live streams and cried through the whole thing because I didn't know how to do any of it. But the thing is, I didn't give up. I kept trying and trying and trying, and I'm slowly getting better. But I'm probably never going to be perfect at it. But the thing is, I didn't quit. I kept trying to learn something. And these people, a huge amount of people, were getting paid to help these people get the millions of dollars they were getting, because they couldn't have not known this was going on. If you went to start a little taxi service, I guarantee they would come to your facility and say, where's the vehicles? Let me see the insurance on the vehicles. Let me see your driver's license. Let me see the insurance on the building where you got the cars. Because if we're going to give you money and all the cars get burnt up, then we expect, some money, or, you know what I'm saying? They're trying to do their jobs, the inspections and stuff like that. But these people do it, and all the people in the hole all the way up to the top didn't do anything. Nobody went there because they were all in on it. See that? I don't know. That's the only thing that makes sense. And I'm not even smart, So if I can figure it out, I don't know how they couldn't. And thank God for this young man and the other gentleman that were able to figure out some of these things and sort of following it around. I guarantee I got the same shit in my state. Something like it. There's tons of criminals, scammers every day in your email. You can't click on any of the links because they'll steal everything on your computer or your cell phone. I mean, there's tons of scammers. They're everywhere. And if we don't learn that, hey, don't click on links, don't do this, don't do that, how do we stop all these people? We can't. The only way to stop them is that when we do find one, arrest them, prosecute them. We have to prosecute every person we find that's breaking the law. That's the only way to deter other people from saying, yay, I want to be a criminal, because no criminals go to prison in America. We get free room and board. We can get everything we want. We can embezzle. We can do whatever. That's basically why they come here, because we bring them here and pay for everything for them so they can steal from us. That's basically what we're teaching all these people. They've deported over 10,000 Somalis just from Minnesota. And look at the chaos that's still going on because they haven't gotten rid of all of them yet. So, and we've been paying for all of them. All 10,000 of them were here on our dime. Our tax dollars took care of them. Well, our federal and their state, them taking care of that. But part of our federal taxes that we paid, the rest of the country helped pay for some of that criminal action that was going on there. And that's still going on in some places. But I don't know. I'm sorry. I hate to keep going nuts or whatever. But here is another one. I just love this guy. And I'm going to share this one simply because it's not the same state, but what he says about what he does in his own state is why I wanted to play this, because this guy, I wish every one of our sheriffs was this guy. This guy is awesome. If he ran for president, I'd vote for him. I'm telling you, this guy, every time he speaks and stuff like that, I listen to him, and he's got a good character. To me, he's compassionate. He tries to follow the law in the best way he could possibly do it. And I can guarantee you many times he probably goes home and cries to his family about the horrible stuff that he had to see all day long, just like every other police officer, every other fireman, all these people, soldiers that had to go to battle and see their friends blown to bits. And then they come home and we treat them like shit. That's what pisses me off. I would share my house with any of these people and make a meal for them, give them a clean bed to sleep in, because they deserve it. And that's what's sad, is that we don't have anybody. Half the country would rather see these guys just run over with cars, just simply because they're trying to follow the law and do their job, and they want them dead for it. They're nuts. We got a bunch of psychos in our country, and it's really scary. But I wanted to share this Sheriff Grady for you because I really like him. And I just want you to hear what he does in Florida with the same situation. And listen to the dumbass question that this reporter asks him before he answers. I turned it up, so I hope you can hear it better.
Well, I don't call them undocumented immigrants. I call them illegal immigrants because that's what they are. The reason they're not documented is they're not legal. Okay, they're illegal immigrants. 74% of the illegal immigrants that we've detained have had criminal charges against them. Okay, the other 26% were riding with them. Okay, so when we stop a car, we run a warrants check on everybody in the car. When there's a call for service, we run a warrants check on the victim, the suspect, and all the witnesses, okay? We call that 26% collateral. But 3 out of 4 of them have committed another criminal charge. Mm-hmm. Now, think about that for a second. They couldn't commit that crime if they weren't here, but they did. So now you're having to take your taxpayer money and my taxpayer money and pay for the prosecution of those folks, pay for the public defender that defends them, pay for the jail and the prison sentence, depending on what the charges are. So, and the majority of the 26% that was left out of the, 74% of them had criminal charges. They were what we call collaterals, and most of them were with the person committing the crime. And that's the numbers that we have so far. Mm-hmm. And those, so how many illegal immigrants have we arrested this year? We've arrested 557 that have criminal charges as well as they're here illegally. That's just this year. But here's the thing and let me focus on this. And I know on social media people.
And that's in January, okay, in Florida, over 500 people that are criminals and they're illegals. I just wanted to make sure you understood that.
I've already tuned out, but you need to tune back in and listen to this. The reason that you see ICE flooding into Minnesota and Minneapolis and into Los Angeles, into these big cities, is because they refuse to turn over the illegal immigrants who are being arrested by the local police department where there's outstanding ICE warrants. If they would have simply, instead of fighting back and pushing back against the federal government, instead of violating the federal law, which is what these leaders have done there, if they just said, look, ICE, we don't want our police actively engaged in ICE enforcement, but you can come in our jails, and as we make arrests, you can go through your evaluation process and remove those criminals that are committing crime against the citizens of the United States and against each other. You can remove them. Then they wouldn't be flooding these big blue areas with all of these ICE agents. So it's the policy and the laws that the California and the Illinois and the Minnesota and the Oregons and the Portlands and the city, it's the laws that they've passed that's created the environment for ICE to have to go in there and do it all on their own. And it puts the ICE agents at additional risk. The local law enforcement officers have already taken the risk to arrest these people. They're in custody. They're locked up. They're in a county lockup or a city lockup someplace or a state lockup for their causes. But yet they're telling the city, the county, or the state prison system, turn these illegals that have committed crime back out into the community on our people. And so if ICE can't get help from the state and the local folks, then they have to send more resources in order to do the job. All of this could have been avoided. All of this could have been. You don't see that happening in Florida. You don't see ICE sending 1,000 people down here to go into Miami or Jacksonville or Tampa or Orlando or our big metro areas. You don't see that. You know why? Because we're cooperating. And this same environment could be in every one of those states if the state had cooperated. But instead, you've elected a bunch of people there, governors, primarily, House and Senate members, mayors, city commissioners, county commissioners, that said, hey, we're going to let these criminals that are here illegally committing crime against the people of the state of California or Minnesota or wherever, we're going to allow them to come back out into the community and commit more crime against you rather than turn them over to our federal partners. That's why you're seeing all this scrum all over the nation. That's why you're seeing it. If they were cooperating like Florida was cooperating, there would not be the protest. There would not be the conflict. People wouldn't be angry. They wouldn't be going to businesses because they would be caught up like they are in Florida when they're committing crime and we turn them over to ICE. They're already caught and they're out of the country.
Yeah, and also look around. What other states are you seeing all the chaos in Arkansas? No. You seeing all the chaos in Oklahoma? No. You see what I mean? All you got to do is look around and see what states are cooperating and which ones aren't. I guarantee you, either the city that's having the problem is a mayor-run city that's run by a Democrat, or the governor's a Democrat. I mean, that's the one thing that matches all of this. So why would anyone that cares about people, their kids, their grandkids, their nieces, their nephews, and other neighbors want to vote for somebody that thinks it's okay to put molesters, murderers, robbers, car thieves, all these different people back on the street instead of handing them over to get rid of them. Because now we got to arrest them again or multiple more times after they've hurt more and more and more people that cost more and more money. And then there's more lives destroyed. Why would you want to vote for someone like that? Did anything that this guy said sound stupid? It sounds to me like this guy's got a shit ton of common sense to me. You don't have to be a genius to listen to what he said and think, that makes sense. But they still will say, this guy is a Nazi. He hates Hispanics. He's a racist and all that simply because he just said what he said, which is just hand him over. You've already caught him because he broke the law or he wouldn't be in your jail, I just don't get it. I don't understand. I really want to, but I haven't been able to meet a liberal yet that's been able to explain to me why it's better to let a rapist back out on the street to rape more women instead of handing them over to the people if he's already in jail.
That's why you're seeing this. It's created by the law and the practice and the policy of the elected officials at the state level, the county level, and the city level, telling them to oppose federal law. Now, why in the world you want those people in those positions that think it's all right to oppose the law, that think more of the criminals than they do the suspects? I don't know. That's why we call this the free state of Florida, because we're for the people. They're for the criminals.
Well, one thing I can say about that is they hate Trump more than they love America, period. There's no other explanation for it. And I can tell you right now, I didn't vote for Obama, not because he was black, but because the one thing that really made me go, what the fuck, when I heard about him was he came from Illinois, and I know people from Illinois, and I was asking them about him. And I said, I started looking into Obama. Okay. And because my mom was saying, he won't win and Hillary's not going to win. And I said, Mom, one of them could win. Whoever ends up getting that spot could win. And I said, but I'd be happier if Hillary got it, the nomination. And Mom was like, why? And I said, because Hillary won't win because she's a woman. It's going to be harder to put a woman in the seat of president than it will be a man, even though he's black. He can still win. Oh, I don't think that. I think that my mother was, when I were arguing about it. So I started looking into him just to find out more about him, because this was an unknown person that all of a sudden is thrust into being the president of the United States or running for it. And the one thing I found that I just couldn't believe it. I was shocked. The fact that he voted in the state of Illinois to let a girl that's 14 years old in school get an abortion without her parents knowing about it. And he had 2 daughters. So I was like, this man is scum. He's a piece of shit. Not because of anything to do with his color of his skin, but because a person that would vote to let your daughter, not his own daughters, your daughter get an abortion without having to tell anyone, and have her parent or her teacher or someone from the school take her to get an abortion that she could die from, that could cause her to never be able to have children again. I was just flabbergasted. And the fact that I found out this one family members that were going to vote for him, they said, oh, he's awesome. He's this, that, and the other. And I said, aren't you Catholic? And they said, yeah. And I said, well, and I asked them about that law, and they go, I didn't know he did that. And I said, well, you don't know him then. You're going to vote for him? Well, you should start looking into it. And that's another thing that bothers me is people that don't even look into anything about the person they're going to go vote for. Simply because they got a D or an R next to their name isn't a reason to put a check mark by their name. Don't go down ballot just because they're this. Go find out about them. Now, I would never vote for a Democrat. I would vote for an independent before I'd vote for a Democrat ever. Because to me, the more and more I see from Democrats, they're all the same. you can't even go stand in a room with them. And if you say something about you voted for Trump, oh, you're the devil. They want you to they want to burn you at the stake. They want to pull every hair out of your head, stomp on you until you die in front of your kid. They'll do it right there in front of your child too. These people are horrible people. They're all horrible. I haven't met a single one that was nice. As soon as you can find out very quickly by just asking them one question of who they voted for. And if you tell them who you voted for, you're dead meat. A liberal woman is the worst thing ever in this country. I really do believe that. And it has nothing to do with their skin color either. It's because they're something's wrong with them. I don't know what it is. I don't know. It's just like that video we watched earlier. They're either they're sad and they hate the world because of something that happened to them in their life. And I've had bad things happen to me. I didn't even want to live after my mother died. I really didn't. I didn't know how I was going to, get through the next year. But I did. And it still hurts. I still miss her. But I still fight. I still get up every day and try to give my best every single day to the earth or to my life, because I'm here for a purpose. Even though we don't know exactly what it is, we have to do the best we can to live the life that we were given, because we did get a life and we shouldn't squander it and just go, oh, well, nothing to do about it. I'm stuck where I'm at because I'm stuck here. Do something about it. Try to change it. Try to make it better. Change the people you're hanging with. If you're so miserable that you hate your life and every day you get up and all you want to do is hurt people, you need to get away from the people you're with, because the people you're with are not the right people if that's all you think about every day. So if I'm in a group of people and, a DM group or anything, and I feel like I'm constantly being attacked or judged or picked on, or they're picking on other people all the time, that's not a group that I want to stay with. I don't care how old they are. If they act like they're 5, they're mentally probably 5. That's not the moral value of their life is not what I want to be associated with. Now, it doesn't mean I'm going to call them a bunch of names and tell them to fuck you and leave. I mean, I do say that a lot when I get angry, but I wouldn't do that and just leave. I would just leave. And if they ever asked me why I left, I said, well, I just didn't feel like it was the right place for me to be. I don't have to badmouth them and make it public. You know what I mean? I usually never do that. And when I have badmouthed somebody, it'd be to one of my best friends or something like that. Someone that I know is not going to go blab everybody. Guess what? Janet told me something, I just, if that happens, then I'll never tell that person anything else. It's personal because I know I can trust them. So you learn from things like that. And this man, he reminds me a little bit of my own grandpa, basically, because he was like that. He was very soft-spoken, but he's very smart. He's very smart. And you could tell that he's been through a lot to make certain choices about common sense. And using common sense in his everyday life to solve problems. Sorry, I'm getting a dry throat, but I'm almost done. Well, I got quite a few things I can talk about because I can always talk. I mean, as you guys have noticed. But I do believe that each of us can do something about it. If you have a friend that's in need, that it just needs, someone to listen to him for 10 minutes, what's it going to hurt? If you have 10 minutes, why not listen? Because one day it might be you that would just need someone to listen to them for, a short amount of time. And you would want someone to listen to you, especially someone isn't going to judge you for it later on, that you're just someone to listen to. It doesn't mean they expect you to fix their problem. That's one thing I can tell you guys. Okay. A woman who comes to you and she's telling you, I had a bad day and my heel broke and my fingernail broke and I burnt my leg or whatever. They just go on a rant. They're just telling you all this bullshit that their day was. That doesn't mean they think that you're going to go and fix their fingernail and you're going to go fix their boo-boo and you're going to fix everything for them. It has nothing to do with that. They just want to vent. They just want to let you know. And the fact that they're telling you that, they're sharing something like that with you, shows that they trust you, and they just want to get it off their chest. And all you have to do is say, well, I know I can't fix it for you, but I'm sorry you had such a bad day, and give them a hug or something. That's all they want. That's all they need. And if you just show some interest, that you listen to them and nod your head, or say that, I can get you a new fingernail file, or I'll pay to get your nail fixed or something, just to know that you listened to what they said to them, it means millions to them. I swear it does. It doesn't cost nothing either. If you just listen to them, it doesn't cost you a dime. It just costs a little bit of time. That's it. And the same thing for the women. Just listen to your guy, for once in a while, and tell him, I really appreciate you doing this or something. Try to let him know that, you noticed that he did something. I saw that you, put your clothes away or whatever, something to show that you notice that things that they've done. Give them recognition for it. People want to be recognized. People want to know they did the best they could, that they did something. And when you noticed it, that means, wow, that's awesome. They paid attention to what I did, that they do see that I did this. They do care about it, because we get busy in our own lives and tired or whatever, and we forget to say, thank you so much for working so hard to keep the electricity on, keep our house paid for, or whatever, little things like that, compliments. It's important that we do that and thank people for their actions, especially if it improves your life a little. It doesn't cost you anything. See, it costs nothing except for your time. And guess what? You feel better afterward, especially when they smile or they hug you and they tell you thank you. It's nice, and I try really hard to do that. And sometimes I know I make people sick because I say, oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate what, you don't have to, or I say, I'm sorry all the time because I made a mistake or I was late or whatever it was. But, I can't help it. That's my personality. It doesn't mean I'm not trying to, get better at not doing it, because I always try to do a little better tomorrow, from the things that I did the day before. But, I hate to say it, but I know I'll never be perfect. But, you sure try to, at least try to be better than you were the day before. But I really like this guy. I think he's great. And I wish more people could be like him. And the young man that was on here before, the Nick Shirley kid. We need more people that give a crap and look at him. I honestly believe that if you went behind his back and you interviewed all his deputies and other people that work in his office, they'd all say they respect this man, because I guarantee he treats everybody with respect. Just by just listening to the way he reasons things out and things, I would swear that this is a really good place to work. That things get done, because if you were to bring something to his attention, he'd say, well, we need to work on that. We need to fix it. He said, get that shit taken care of. He's that kind of person. And he's smart too. I think he's smart. And I would vote for him if he ran for president, because I think he's got what we need. We need common sense. And we'll fix a lot of problems in our government with common sense. I really believe that. But I'm done talking about him now. So let's go on to the next thing. Let me see. Okay, that one's that one. And let's see what this one is real quick. Oh, this is another good one. Let me open this guy. This is another one from Gunther. I really like Gunther. He posts a lot of good stuff. And I'm sure he finds it because he's got so many people helping him find stuff. But he's always able to get the really good, juicy stuff before other people. So this is another guy who's talking about DHS officials. He's a DHS official, but I wanted to play this because I like to listen to some of these, because a lot of this doesn't get played enough. People don't know anything about it. You get a tiny tidbit of it, you know what I mean? And or they'll add stuff to it. And some of them, they play it and they talk. They do a voiceover over it and put music to it, and you can't even hear what they're saying. So I like it more when I can actually hear the actual person that's doing the talking. So here we go.
Good afternoon. My name is Marcos Charles. As Greg introduced, I am the Executive Associate Director for ICE Enforcement Removal Operations. Thank you for joining us. We announced the current status of Operation Metro Surge. As you know, the Department of Homeland Security has arrested over 10,000 illegal aliens in Minnesota since President Trump took office. Over the weekend and through yesterday's holiday, ICE arrested 113 illegal aliens in Minnesota. Some of the criminal aliens that were arrested, whose photos you see beside me on the monitor, include an illegal alien gang member from Laos with convictions for homicide and robbery, an illegal alien from Laos who's been convicted for sodomizing a 12-year-old girl and sexual assault, an illegal alien from the Marshall Islands who has 24 criminal convictions, including assault, domestic abuse, and theft. There's an illegal alien from Honduras convicted of 3 DUIs who has also been arrested for kidnapping, robbery with a dangerous weapon, and possession of a stolen firearm. An illegal alien from South Africa convicted of violating a restraining order and arrested for domestic violence, assault, meth possession, and DUI. We are currently also looking for 2 sexual predators who are at large in or around St. Paul right now. Lu Mao Ah, a criminal illegal alien from Laos who is wanted for sexually assaulting a child, rape, kidnapping, and domestic violence. And Kong Ming Bang, a criminal illegal alien from Laos who is wanted for sexual assault, gang activity, and simple assault. If you have any information about these 2 criminal illegal aliens or any other criminal illegal aliens, please call the ICE tip line at 866 DHS 2 ICE or visit our website at ice.gov to submit a tip. Since President Trump took office 1 year ago today, the state of Minnesota has released nearly 500 criminal aliens who were in police or state custody rather than turning them over to ICE for removal proceedings. Many of these criminals already have a final order of removal, which means an immigration judge has determined that they have no legal basis to remain in the United States. ICE currently has more than 1,360 immigration detainers on illegal aliens in Minnesota jails and prisons, and we are calling on Governor Walz and Mayor Fry to turn these criminal illegal aliens directly over to ICE to keep Minnesota residents in our community safe. If local officials, including those in the Twin Cities, don't want ICE to arrest criminal aliens that are at large in their communities, the best solution is to turn them over to us in a safe, controlled setting like a jail or prison, instead of releasing them back onto the street to victimize our neighborhoods, where your children go to school, where your parents live, and where you worship, shop, and spend time with your loved ones. The holiday weekend's arrests reflect ICE's commitment to public safety and responsible enforcement. When criminal illegal aliens threaten the Twin Cities or any other city in America, we act decisively to remove them from the community in a controlled and lawful manner. Our goal is simple. We're here to protect the American communities from people like the ones you see here on the monitor. Thank you.
Well, it's sad that a police officer or any government agent like that has to say stuff like that to the public because they hate their president more than they care about their people and the safety of their people. You heard what he said. Over 500 criminals, and you heard what he said on some of them: sodomy, rape on children, and they just put them right back in the street. You know why they don't care? Because the governor and the mayor's child isn't going to be accessible, but your kid is. Isn't that disgusting? Should that person be able to have the job that they have? How can you be a mayor of a town or a city and willingly put rapists child rapists back on the street, knowing there's children everywhere. I mean, tell me that can't be illegal. That has to be illegal. That's just like saying, you know that there's a room full of pedophiles, but you take the kids and you put them in there anyways. What's the difference? That's child abuse. I can't believe that both of them are still in office. I can't believe that the people haven't rose up and demanded that they be taken out of office. You know, that's what I don't understand. I don't know. Maybe I'm just nuts. I just can't help it. I just don't. Just none of it makes any sense. I'm seeing it, I'm hearing it, but it's not sinking in. I don't understand why nothing's happened. Nothing's changed. It's I don't know. It's just really drives me nuts. I just can't put it together. But this next thing I wanted to share is something I talked about a while back about that I would give a certain amount of time before I would start saying anything about it, because I said that they deserved at least a year. And I'm not blaming Trump at all. Trump, I think, has gone above and beyond everything he could possibly do. His hands are tied. He has a Congress that does nothing. They all ran on Trump's, coattails for America first, blah, blah, blah. And they get in and they don't do shit. They don't even get his judges in a whole year. He gives them a list of all the federal judges he wants in the different states, because when a crime happens in a certain state, usually they can, like I'm on federal jury duty right now. I'm in a pool where every week I'll have to call to see whether or not I have to show up at the courthouse because I might be selected to be on a jury for a federal court. Okay. That's how our state does it. Now, other states might do it differently. But the thing is, you have federal courts in every state, okay? And so you need judges in every state. As I said over and over again about what happened with Comey. If Comey's arrested in Virginia or Washington, D.C., whatever, guess what? That's where he's got to go to court. And if he goes in front of one of those judges, what do you think is going to happen? Well, we already know what happened. He threw it out. So they have to start the process again. So we either get good judges put in that Trump appointed that he wants in there. And remember when we had the shutdown, Trump said, if they're shut down for this much longer, I'm going to be able to go in and put in my own judges myself. I don't have to have Congress. And what did they do? They just kept going in and hitting the gavel, gong, 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 so that Trump couldn't do that. They didn't give him the option to do it because they don't want to do it. They don't like them. There's a, was it 76? I said 76 congressmen. Yeah, let me see. Let me look at it. I got it written down. I thought, yes, 76 rhinos are in there that always vote against Trump. Anything he wants, they try to vote against him. And if it hadn't been for J.D. Vance, that last thing that he voted, that he broke the tiebreaker, he would have lost that. So, these midterms are really going to kill us because now we have another liberal Virginia governor that's about to rape her people over the coals, but with taxes and taking their gun rights and things like that away from them that they handed to her on a silver platter because they picked her over whoever the other person was. But I'm telling you right now, as of today, I'm starting to think more and more about going down ballot, even though I said I would never do that before because I always tried to do it individually. But right now, I can tell you right now, I'd never vote for Democrat. Any person that is proud and says they're going to run as a Democrat, I wouldn't vote for them because that person's already owned. They would have to either be an independent or someone who's running to be conservative. And that's another thing. I think it should be on their signs. I think it should say on their sign whether they're a Democrat or they're a conservative, independent, or whatever. It should say it on there. If a person's running for office and they're a Satanist, it should say, I'm a Satanist. So you could know more about the person. You should be able to look that up. Are they a Wiccan? Are they, a Catholic? Are they agnostic? I mean, what is their religion? We should know certain things about people if you're going to go vote for them. And we should have the right to look that up. Just like they say that we have the right to find out who donated to them. Is George Soros funding them? Then I definitely won't vote for him. So if they'll take money from a rapist and a murderer, then they're no different than they are. So if someone gave me a bag of money, and I would ask them, where'd you get this money? Because I'm not going to just take it just because it's free money. I don't know where it's been. I had a friend that got on Facebook to sell 4 tires. They got new tires for their car. The ones they had were really worn, but they weren't worn out. So they thought, I could sell them for $20 or $25 a piece because these are hard to get, whatever. There was some specialty car that he had. So he's going to sell them. Well, guess what? He did. He sold them on Facebook, and the person came all happy and handed him, I think, $320 or something in cash, right? He was happy. So they went shopping with the cash, took his kids and went shopping. And then he got a knock on the door not very long after he left Walmart. And because I guess they followed him, because guess what? They were counterfeit bills. So you could get screwed if you're not thinking through what you're doing, and someone just shows up and gives you a bunch of 20s. You better have a way to figure out whether they're fraudulent or not. I'm just saying, you can't trust people anymore. Okay, there's no such thing as a handshake anymore unless you know the person and you're personally friends with that person. You can't trust anyone. I hate to say that, but that's where we are in the world now. So if you're going to vote for somebody, you should at least try to look up as much as you can about them. But this thing, like I'm saying, about Pam Bondi, I said, yeah, they're all stupid. A bunch of them said dumb things and made dumb remarks, stuff, but they're all new. They've never been in a cabinet before or something like this. So I give them the benefit of the doubt once or twice, and that's it. But if they keep making mistakes, then no, I don't want to keep them. But I thought this whole thing with Glenn Beck about what's going on with Pam Bondi was important, because it's time that we got to start looking at who is being prosecuted and who isn't, and why aren't they? Is it because that we don't have any good judges? If it's true that we haven't gotten our judges yet, if Congress isn't getting off their ass, then why isn't she and the president out saying, hey, Congress, I've been waiting this many days, and I've gave you that list my second day in office, and I'm still waiting. Do your damn jobs and name names. Start naming names. Start plastering their names all over the place if they haven't done their job. They're making a check. They're getting full benefits. Why aren't they doing their damn job? And the president and Pam Bondi and whoever else needs to start calling them out on it. I expect that now, period. Because if they can't do the job, they're afraid to bring anything in to be prosecuted because they don't have any decent judges, then start putting some blame on some damn people so that something can happen. Start putting the blame where the blame belongs so that we can start making some choices on who not to vote for, and or who we can maybe impeach or whatever to get out of office. So, start giving us some more information when it comes to that. But I wanted to play this. I thought it was pretty good. Here we go.
We have yet to receive anything from our FOIA on the Jeffrey Epstein case. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this, but when I saw what was happening with the Epstein case, I noticed there seemed to be a real tiff between Dan Bongino and Pam Bondi. And so I know there had to be things that were being exchanged back and forth, and that would help us get to what really happened. So we requested copies, including, this is actually from the FOIA that we put out July 11th, copies of all records, including but not limited to emails, memorandums, notes, text messages, correspondence, meeting minutes, call logs, or any other communications sent or received by Dan Bongino that mention, discuss, or relate to any of the following topics: the Epstein files, Jeffrey Epstein's client list, any documents, investigations, or releases related to Jeffrey Epstein's activities, associate, or estate; Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, DOJ, Kash Patel. This includes communication where these topics are discussed in combination. Bongino's references to the Epstein files in context of Bondi or Patel, or individually. The search should include any electronic or paper records in Bongino's custody, as well as those involving him as the sender, recipient, or CC/BCC participant. The time period of this request is from November 5th, 2024 until present day, July 11th, 2025, requesting these records in the public interest as they pertain to a high-profile promises made by Bongino, Bondi, and Patel regarding transparency on Epstein-related matters, which have been widely discussed in the media and public forums. Disclosure would contribute to public understanding of government operations, accountability, and potential conflicts of interest involving senior officials. I am not seeking these records for commercial purposes. I request a waiver of all fees associated, blah, 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 blah. Crickets. We have not heard a thing from the DOJ. It is my right as a journalist to request with a FOIA request. The government is supposed to respond quickly to a FOIA request. Usually they do. When they don't respond quickly to a FOIA request, it sometimes can be dragged out for a very long time because the government doesn't want to do it. And so they'll come up with all kinds of excuses. I would think that a DOJ that wants to let the American people know what's going on would have honored that FOIA request. But again, it's not unusual. So let me first make a case. I want to make two sides of this case. And the one I believe is that Pam Bondi needs to be replaced right now. But I want to make a case that, wait a minute, there might be some things we don't understand. So you can make your own decision. And no straw man arguments. I'll give you both sides of this. First, let me make a case for accountability and action and why patience at some point can become complicity. A republic doesn't die only from chaos. It dies from tolerance of the intolerable. There comes a point when process stops being prudence and becomes protection. And that's what I'm concerned about, that we are in this place to where protection is happening. And history is merciless on this question of where this line is. The Roman Senate, they didn't fall just because they lacked laws. They weren't enforcing it. The laws were enforced selectively. Politicians, the Senate, everybody delayed. And so there was no justice, and the people noticed that. And that's when people stopped believing in the republic. So faith collapses before an empire or a country does. Same thing over and over throughout history. I don't need to bore you with all of the details. But this is the moment that we're living in right now, when small offenders are jailed swiftly, when the IRS will hire 85,000 agents to go over your records, but nobody will talk about Hunter Biden. No one will talk about the Clintons. No one will talk about anybody in power. Those just get swept away. When process crimes are aggressively pursued, when whistleblowers are crushed, which they have been, but sprawling, massive, well-documented corruption in government produces years of nothing but hearings and no results on those hearings, okay? When that happens, the public starts to say, I'm going to draw a conclusion here. And it's not irrational to do it. It's not hysterical to do it. But people see this pattern and go, the whole system is rigged. And that's the end of a republic. And that's why Pam Bondi needs to answer or be replaced. We must have the information that the American people can trust. So let me just tell you, these are the things that just drive me out of my mind, that Pam Bondi needs to answer for and be replaced for. First, the Epstein case. That's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. I've never seen anybody handle anything. No, I take that back. Joe Biden, he handled his entire administration the way Pam Bondi has handled the Epstein case. It is honestly like she's like, I got all the information on my desk right here, and I got that. What am I doing here? I mean, it was almost that bad. I've got all the information, and you're going to see it tomorrow. It's set right here on my desk, and then nothing. Why did you say that, Pam? You have to tell the American people because you were bluffing, because you hadn't done your homework, because you were looking for press that night. Why would you say that and then have nothing? And then the next day say, well, I don't have it because the FBI in New York they won't release it. They're holding the documents, and then not send FBI to the FBI office and arrest those people that would not turn over the records that you said they were holding. Why didn't that happen? I personally think it was just another lie or gaffe from you. It was you were incompetent and not ready to deal with it, and you opened your mouth. That's what I think happened.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the kindest I can get. So the Jeffrey Epstein thing, complete bungling of it. The lack of criminal prosecution for James Comey, for Clapper, for the lying under oath on so many things, but let's just say Russiagate, the collusion with the press and the use of the release of secret information to the press. We know it. We have the memos. We've seen the memos. Why hasn't anybody been charged? Why haven't these two been charged? Ricky, can you tell me, have they even lost their national security clearances?
Oh, I don't think they have, but I'll double check that
Can
while
you
you're
just check?
going off.
Yeah,
Yes.
just check. Yeah, okay. Next, the lack of criminal prosecution against Adam Schiff or the New York Attorney General Letitia James or anyone else that tried to weaponize the justice system against political opponents. Most prominently, that would be Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Where is any case on that? And you know what? If you don't have a case, say you don't have a case, but don't just leave it hanging out there.
Yeah.
Lack of arrests for various Democratic scandals, including the Russia collusion hoax. Where's that? The Mar-a-Lago raid? I mean, we keep finding out it's worse and worse and worse, and nothing happens. How about the 2020 election fraud? That scandal. At least the lack of investigations into and answers on whether there was fraud. Nothing? You got nothing. A year in, you got nothing. Okay. How about the lack of action regarding Doge's fraud findings? A lot of fraud there. Who went to jail? Who are you even considering putting in jail? Do you know how much money has been stolen from the American people? And it appears our DOJ doesn't give a flying crap.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have a country run like this. You can't. And Pam, that's your responsibility. That's your responsibility. Where are all the arrests and investigations into all the state and federal government that participated in the Somali fraud? I know you're going and you're getting the Somalis. And you got some Russians, and I congratulate you on that. But I want to see the people that were involved at the airport. I want to see the bankers that knew. I want to see the people that turned a blind eye. I want to see people who actually planned it. Where is that? I know you're only a year into it. How long do we have to wait here?
Mm-hmm.
How about the failure to drain the swamp on the deep state actors working against the American people and their elected officials? Do we have anything on that? Anything. The failure to prosecute anyone involved in the Biden era weaponization of government. Dare I even say COVID? The Unjust Face Act arrests? Everything the Twitter files exposed about what the government was doing? Where is a single arrest? Where and when will someone pay for any of this?
Mm-hmm.
How about Biden's auto pen scandal? Where the hell's that? How about this? How about the lies that happened under oath by the Capitol Police, proven to be lies by videotape about January 6th?
Mm-hmm.
January 6th. What about the pipe bomber? Definitely not that guy. We got this guy over here. Uh-huh. What about the FBI lying about the number of agents that were actually there at January 6th? We're going to do anything about that? Here's one of my favorites. This is a recent hit. The lack of going after the Clintons for non-Epstein related reasons like Gazprom and Uranium One. We got that one dead to rights. Benghazi, dead to rights. Hillary's email server, dead to rights. Claims of fraud in Haiti with the Clinton initiative, dead to rights. Anything the Clinton Foundation has touched, I'm pretty sure you can find something. And what happens? You don't do anything. So Congress has a little show trial to enrage the left and the right based on a fishing expedition that you're not going to get anything from, except you're going to get people riled up on teams. That's not helpful to the Republic. How about the lack of apparent investigations into George Soros and all of his foundations? I know you're just starting that. Can we get an update at all? Why does this man have so much influence in our politics? Everyone knows. And there's zero pushback from anybody in power. I mean, you could go back to the Ukraine color revolution of 2014, which, of course, led them to try to impeach Trump. But, the lack of investigations in COVID is astounding. No one went to jail. You know how many people died? Because you all colluded. You colluded. You knew this was untested. You knew it had dangers. You didn't tell us about it. Instead, you said, you have to take it. Nobody goes to jail for that. No one. No one pays a price. How many people in this world, let alone this country, died because of that? And by the way, what about buddying up with China and being partially responsible for COVID? Is anybody going to pay a price for that, or do we just not care? Because it's science.
Well, told you I was packed with information, but it's all truthful. And I feel exactly the same way. I am ready. I'm ready for something. Somebody has to pay for something or start or tell us what is going on or what is she doing? What are they doing? What choices have they already made? But I'm going to share that really quickly in the chat because to me, that is very informative. And just keep that just because of the list that he gave off so that we can keep asking questions about it. You know what I mean? That's one reason why I want to keep that one. But this next one is some of the things that he brought up. I went and tried to find stuff about. So after I watched it. So let's see, this one was really, really interesting. And it would be interesting to see something come of it because it sure does make sense. And I'm going to share this too. Just the top part, Ambassador Stevens was sent to Benghazi to secretly retrieve U.S.-made Stinger missiles that the State Department had supplied to the Shia people in Libya without Congress oversight permission. And Hillary Clinton's all over this. And we all remember what happened to Stevens, Ambassador Stevens, and the people that weren't supposed to be there that were calling to say that they wanted to go over there and help them. And they were told no, not to help them. So I'm telling you, it's a mess. And there's shit tons of evidence against Clinton for sure. But I'm going to share this because it's really long. It's a really, really a lot of information. And then it has her picture on here. But there's a lot of really good comments from different people. It's very interesting. You guys can get a good hour or so of reading out of this. But a lot of people feel the same way. They feel the same way that we want to see. Now, this is a person right here that if this one person could get arrested and start the process on some of her crimes, just some of them, 2 or 3 of them, would be freaking awesome. I mean, it would inspire a lot of people to finally have faith in something. But I honestly am to the point to where I don't know why it's not happening. I think there is a reason why. Now, I don't know if it's good or bad. I really don't. But if we want to see something happen, it's not going to be this person. It's not going to be Pam Bondi. I'm to the point now that I believe that because I did give her a whole year to, prove that she was in there and she meant business. Now she has, and I have shared a lot of it, showed all these different arrests with the federal government when it came to the trafficking humans and things like that, and harvesting organs and a few other little things like that. Yeah, and that's important. I'm not saying that it isn't, but it's not enough. We need more. And she runs the whole United States when it comes to federal offices. And there's offices in every state. So every single office should be arresting somebody from each state. One person in every state that's well known that's been convicted of crimes or that we have tons of evidence on. So why haven't we seen anything? So I just wanted to share that because it was basically how I've been feeling. But I wanted to wait, and he was so good at explaining it because he's come back that I wanted to share it with you guys so you could see that I do mean what I'm saying, and I do want to see something happen. But I want it to be legal, and I really have a bad feeling that if we bring up some of these things to the wrong judge, it's going to suck. It's going to really suck when it gets thrown out. And a lot of these serial killers, this is the reason why I was thinking about it, is like if you had a serial killer who killed 5 women, right? And you bring a case and you don't want to put all 5 cases in, okay? But people say, well, the women who were murdered, this case isn't in there. They're not getting justice, okay? But you can prosecute them later, like after you can convict for the ones with the most evidence, whatever. The thing is, if you did bring all 5 cases up and he was acquitted, you can't try him again. Okay, so if you bring her up on 2 charges, pick 2 different ones that we have tons of evidence for and bring her up on those and start to prosecute. And then if something happens, you get a bad judge or whatever, and get frickin' Congress to give him his judges and then prosecute her for those 2 crimes. But if they fall through or she's able to worm her way out of it because she gets a good judge or whatever, something happens, then you still have the other cases to bring up. But not to give up. You know what I'm saying? Because she's got all these different years and years and years of crimes, tons of proof now that we have that. Then why not do it? Let's see Hillary Clinton fry. I want to see her fry. Everyone I know knows she's a piece of shit. And I want to see her brought to justice. I really do. And if we can see at least Hillary Clinton, start something on Hillary Clinton, we'll start having a little more faith again. And then if she doesn't want to spend the rest of her life in prison, which she should, wants to make a deal and throw some other people under the bus, great. I think because I remember she said, if I go down, everybody's going down with me. I remember her saying that to whatever Podesta, which she lost. She didn't win. And she was talking about a bunch of different stuff because she was pissed off. But, I'd like to see it. I'd like to see that happen. But I think this is the other one I had. Yeah, this is the last one I had. It's him. It's Glenn Beck, and he's asking questions about what charges could people like John Brennan and Obama face in Russiagate. I don't know who this guy is, but he is some kind of really smart guy that Glenn Beck was interviewing. So I wanted to bring that on here. I only got to see part of it because I was in a hurry and didn't get to watch the whole thing. But it's only a minute long. So here we go.
What kind of charges do you think you're going to see from this? I mean, what do you charge these guys with?
Oh, I think there are a number of charges. There's obvious false statement charges. If and when they're brought in before a grand jury, they decide to not tell the truth. I think there are charges about conspiracy to deprive people of civil rights under color of law. That was what was done to Carter Page. It was done to Trump. I think we may see charges about conspiracies to defraud the U.S. For example, if the raid against Mar-a-Lago against Trump was done as part of a scheme to cover up their previous conspiracy with the Russia collusion hoax. They're not going to be saved by a 5-year statute of limitations that might have expired in 2021 or 2022. I think they are in very, very deep trouble for what they did to this country.
I hope. But see, we have to have somebody that has the balls
What kind of
that's
charges do you
willing
think?
to prosecute, just like what he was just saying. And I just I don't know. I don't know why she's dragging her feet. I really don't. I wish I had an idea, but I don't. And I don't know. I've only seen one post on Truth Social from Trump that said that, he wanted her to get that Epstein stuff out of the way, so it'd stop being such an issue, because apparently Trump knew he wasn't involved, but he just wanted it done. He just wanted to just get the stuff out and get it over with, so people stop talking about it, because I want to move on to other things that he knew were more important than the Epstein stuff. But she did mess that up really bad. But hopefully something within, this month, next month, something big's going to happen. I really do feel that. But as if the weather, depending on the weather now, it's supposed to be getting another storm after this one that's coming. So I don't know. Maybe the weather manipulation stuff is real, and they're using that also on top of the other stupid people that are out there taking their kids now, toddlers and stuff, to some of these protests, like dumbasses, because they don't think they'll get tased or shot with water cannons and stuff, that they're carrying their toddlers with them. So I don't know. It's just people are so stupid. I don't understand any of it. But I just want to say thank you to everybody for hanging out with me to rant, basically, because that's what I did most of the evening. Can't help it, though. I just get so fed up. This is like my therapy, and thank you, Bruce, for the one little free. He gave Hardwick a membership to my channel, so I say congratulations to Hardwick, because he's my first member, because I just got the thing, paperwork or something to fill out to try to make it so I could have members and stuff like that. I don't understand any of it really, and Bruce has been too busy and stuff, and I don't really have anyone to sit down and help me understand any of this stuff, because I really don't understand what any of it means, and I'm doing the best I can. I mean, I haven't even finished filling out tax stuff because I don't really understand how all that stuff works. I know it sounds really bad, but I don't do a lot of stuff. I always have someone else help me do that. So that's why it's important for you to learn a lot of things for yourself, because that way you don't have to have another person help you do it. That's what I've been trying to do. But I could read 500 pages and I'm like, I'm still clueless. It just doesn't absorb or something. I don't understand. But I just want to say thank you to everybody for hanging out with me. And the outro I played at the very beginning about the whole thing at Walmart meat thing is my outro. I put it on there. I'm going to play it a few times because I really think it's important. And not just Walmart. Make sure you do it at any grocery store you go to. Because how do you know that? If you get a ham that's already wrapped, or a turkey or whatever, and it says that it's $25 and it's this much per pound. So it's telling you it weighs 15 pounds, but when you weigh it yourself and it only weighs 10, but they're charging you for a 15-pound bird or whatever, then they're ripping you off. So make sure if you go and you buy any meat from now on, go weigh it. Make sure you're getting what you say. They say that it's just selling you, because they're ripping off a lot of people. So I want you guys to make sure you start checking that out yourself. You don't have to film it, make a video or anything, but just do it just to see whether or not your store that you buy your stuff is doing the same thing, trying to rip people off because they're trying to get more money from you, even though they're making billions of dollars. You know what I mean? They make a shit ton of money, and they don't even want to pay their cashiers. They want you to cash out your own stuff, which I refuse to do too. That's another thing. I'm a bitch about that. The other day when I was there was like 25 people and they had 3 lanes open, and every one of them had people curved all the way down, and they had like 10 scan it yourself things open. And the lady that works at that, she just stood there. She didn't do anything. So they just let us stand in line. So that goes to show you they don't care about customer service anymore. And what's really sad is that the people they're already cutting their employees down from 40 hours a week to 32 hours a week. So they're not considered full time anymore. So they don't have to pay them benefits and stuff. So they're already cutting all these people out, and getting, fewer and fewer people and giving them less access to things. I guess they don't want them to have access to the cash or something. They have no way of stopping them from stealing. I don't know. I don't know why they would do it. It just doesn't make sense to me, because to me, I want a person, I want to see a person and talk to a person when I'm getting my groceries scanned and bagged and stuff like that. I don't know. I just think it's pathetic that $1 billion company doesn't want, employees to be able to scan people's groceries. It's just stupid. I don't know. But I just want to say thank you to everyone again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. And if you are in the area that's getting sleet and ice, please don't risk it. Don't go out on the road. There's no reason to. If you know someone that has a 4-wheel drive truck and they think they can bring you water or whatever it is that you think is so desperate you have to have in the next few days that you didn't already take care of, or you didn't go and make sure your grandma had electric blanket or extra warm stuff to wear in case her electricity did go out, and, food to eat that you can eat. I think most people do have food like peanut butter and jelly and things like that you don't have to cook. So having no electricity isn't any big deal, especially for like me. I'm not going to have cell service if my cell booster goes out, because I'm in the boonies, and without that, my phone's just like, it doesn't work. I mean, I could use the internet if I have, but no power. I don't have the internet, so I won't have any service. But I can walk if I have to. I can walk a couple miles and beg someone to let me use their phone. Something like that. But people do live in rural areas, and that's what you have to deal with. If you want to be away from the city, you have to sometimes deal with the fact that you might not have all the wonderful things that living in the city gives you, like internet and electricity and other things like that. But I think I can deal with it. But thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out with me tonight, and thank you, Bruce, for purchasing my first membership. I really, really love it. I think it's awesome. I don't understand how it works yet. Hopefully I'll figure it out. But you guys have a wonderful night, and stay safe this weekend. And please check on your loved ones and your pets. Don't leave your pet out there. It's going to be like, where I live, it's going to be like 5 degrees this weekend. So, and that's too cold for a dog or a cat if they're not used to being outside all the time. So in this cold weather, especially depending on where you live. But thank you very much. You guys have a wonderful weekend. God bless America.
Through it a little bit, pick anything out. Let's go weigh this one on the scale. They're saying this ham here, what is it? Kentucky Legend ham? They're saying this ham right here, this little bitty ham, is 5.34 pounds. Let's take it to the scale. It's a good thing they put these scales in here so we can keep Walmart in check. Let's check this out. $2.25. They were trying to get somebody for $25. $25.59 for this. How many in here are off? How many in there are off? Start digging through here, see how many in here are off. If I was unknowing, I was in a hurry, I just grabbed that ham and threw it in, it would rang up $25. I literally spent about 2 minutes in here. I started going up and down through things, looking at stuff. I found this in 2 minutes. Check your meat, folks. Walmart.